And welcome everybody to Might and Magic 10 and Legacy. And by the way, Happy New Year. There was a vote on my Patreon page, and this won the vote. So we're gonna do a playthrough of Might and Magic X Legacy. So this was when I guess Ubisoft still has the rights to the Might and Magic franchise, and they had a development team make I guess a kind of a budget game um, for Might and Magic 10. The last Might and Magic was Might and Magic 9 that 3DO actually made. That was right before they went under. And so anyway, it's kind of a spiritual successor. It's I don't know. It's not really. I wouldn't say it really follows the Might and Magic feel to a T, but it has some elements. It also has a lot of sound effects from the Might and Magic series, from like 6 and 7 and 8 and 9. It's okay. I mean, when I first played this game, I actually got this game when it first came out. I played like a couple hours of it, didn't like it, and so I just shelved it. I just didn't even touch it after that. And it wasn't until people voted for it, and I actually had to sit down and kind of play it, that I kind of started liking it a little bit. I wouldn't say it's my favorite game, but it's definitely intriguing. It's got some mechanics that kind of make it interesting, and it's not bad. It's got some graphical issues though. I will be running it in like pretty much the lowest settings, because otherwise, outdoors particularly, it's got some really bad issues with I don't know, maybe there's just trying to draw too many things at once or whatever. But I'm not the only one who has that problem, and I'm sure that my computer by now should be good enough to play this game at optimal speed, but for some reason it still doesn't. So I think it's just an issue with the way they programmed the game. I think this is they programmed it in Unity, by the way. Anyway, so also a couple of things, extras. So, hold on, bonus content. Yes, I have Raiders and their adventures were over, but now they fight. Okay, I have a bonus content that I specifically enabled, kind of hacked enabled, the Thunderblade helmet. So as far as I know, the only way you were supposed to get that is if you visited like a booth or something back, like I guess 6 years ago when they were making this game. They were hounding out. Oh, here it says right here. Hold on. Limited Pro item unlocked by entering a code printed on the Might and Magic X Legacy floppy disk. Yeah, there was a floppy disk that they handed out that had a code on it, and you inputted the code, and you got the Thunderblade's helmet. I enabled that, kind of hacking the game. Well, somebody posted on the Ubisoft forums for this game how to do it, and I followed the directions there and enabled it. So I don't actually know anything about it. I just know it's an extra item. It's a helmet. I don't know its stats or anything, and I couldn't find its stats online. So we're gonna find out what its stats are. But just for those of you who are probably wondering, oh, it says right here, this relic increases the owner's resistance to air magic and deals air retaliation damage to attackers. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it'll be even worth keeping, but we'll try it out. Let's see here. So that's bonus combat. Mods. I don't know if there were ever any mods for this game. So if there are no mods. Yeah. Also, I do have the, let's see, there's a relic set that you unlock if you, like, with Ubisoft points, and that's unlocked too, by the way. So, anyway. So we're going to talk about some things here when I create the party. I'm going to choose Warrior Mode because, as you all know, I play games on the highest difficulty possible. That's just what I do. Manual creation, of course. So this is where the game gets interesting. So you've got 4 races that you can choose from, and each of these races have 3 classes, and you cannot mix and match like in the old Might and Magic. You could choose an orc, whatever you wanted, paladin or whatever. In this game, the races are set with the classes. You can't have like a human, shaman or anything like that. Humans only have like a set of 3 classes, and they have to be human. So, but they're kind of interesting. Maybe I could just go through all of them and talk about them. Humans start quick learner. Humans start with 4 free skill points. So in the game, every level you get 3 skill points. So it's kind of like starting with almost an extra level worth of skill points, kind of. Although, maybe not really. But, in this game, it continues the tradition of Might Magic 6 on, where the magic users are way stronger than the melee classes or the might heroes, right? The magic is stronger than might, as was the case in 6, 7, 8, and 9. So that's might heroes have a lot of problems actually. They have to somehow get past blocks. There's blocking. There's it's like an extra thing that you have to get past. There's blocking. There's dodging. Then there's the armor itself, which is basically damage resistance. You have all those problems with a might hero. You have none of those problems with a magic hero. You only have resistances with a magic hero. And, of course, there's, your spell points, right? You've only got a limited amount of spell points. But probably with a lot of might classes, you'll be using spell points anyway. So you're going to have that same problem with a might class in terms of your limited spell points, because a lot of them are going to be using, like, what is it called? War cries? Warfare. A lot of them are going to be using warfare type stuff. And so they're still going to have a problem of like running out of mana. So, the fact that you have a problem with mana with the magic heroes doesn't mean that if you use might heroes, you're going to not have a problem with magic, with running out of mana. So you might as well just choose a magic hero. They're better. Yes, you're going to have to rest a lot to restore your mana, but so what? You're going to have to do probably the same thing with a might hero anyway. So I'm going to choose 4 magic type heroes. And the ones I'm going to choose are going to be... We're going to start with a free mage. And free mage, it's advanced class, so you like in the original Might and Magic series, or starting with Might and Magic 6, you could change classes, like get kind of a class upgrade. In Might and Magic 6 and in those games, the class upgrade, Might and Magic 6, it just basically gave you more spell points and hit points. Or more mana and hit points. I think that's all it did in 6, but then in 7 it started giving you access to, being able to grandmaster skills and things like that. So in this game, it doesn't give you any extra mana or hit points, but it does give you basically just it gives you the ability to grandmaster your skills, and it also gives you like a little added class bonus. Like in this case with the free mage, it's time stop. And I must admit, I've never actually used time stop because I've never actually used a free mage. My complete playthrough of this game that I did previously was not. I didn't have a free mage, so I'm not sure. But anyway, it freezes time outside a sphere created around you for 2 turns or until you exit the sphere. So it basically gives you 2 turns to do whatever you want, and like heal up or get yourself in order. And then after those 2 turns, you can restart combat. That seems pretty powerful to me. So if for nothing else other than to have that ability, I think I'd use a free mage. But there's several other reasons I want a free mage. And so I'm going to go by my tradition of naming these guys after Heroes of Might Magic 3 characters. So I'm going to name this guy. See, he's going to use Implosion. So this would be... Who would I want to name this after? I'd say... Let's call this guy, let's call him Deemer. Even though, I mean, Implosion, I guess, is the closest thing we're going to have to Meteor Shower. So let's call him Deemer. And, see, so my skill points. So this is kind of important. So I get... It says 4 extra skill points. I'm not really sure if that's correct, though. It gives me 4 skill points, but I think it's only really 2 extra skill points versus what the other people would get. So that's a bit misleading. But still, that's good. You know, it's a nice little bonus there. 1 point in Dark Magic. There's a couple of level 1... I guess level 1 Dark Magic spells, Novice level Dark Magic spells, that are really useful. Other than that, I don't think Dark Magic is really very useful, and I'll talk about the spells later when we get into the game, but Dark Magic has a lot of level, or Novice level spells that are useful, and pretty much nothing else as far as I'm concerned. Air Magic, we can Grandmaster Air, and I will actually try to Grandmaster Air with this guy if we can, if we have enough levels. Typically, in my last playthrough, I got to level 33. So you probably have enough levels to Grandmaster Air and Prime there. So we're going to definitely Grandmaster Prime, try to Grandmaster Air too. And I'm going to pick Earth Magic because there's a level 1... Not only is Entangle kind of useful in the beginning, but later on there's a level 1 Earth Magic spell, or a Novice level Earth Magic spell that's pretty important. So I definitely want to pick that up eventually. Might as well pick it up now. And now I have one more to either throw in Fire Magic or Water Magic. Now, Water Magic has... Not only is Ice Bolt decent, but there's also another spell, level 1 or Novice level for Water Magic that's also pretty decent. It's Frozen. Is it Frozen Ground? I think it is. I think it might be called Frozen Ground anyway. I might want to use that. On the other hand, Fire Magic gives you a Firebolt to start. And remember, if you don't start with these spells, then you're going to have to buy them, which is kind of expensive in the beginning. And Fire Magic is really, really great in the start. Firebolt is an amazingly effective spell in the beginning. Partly because of who you're facing in the beginning. There's a part where you have to face a lot of guys that are actually weak to fire. So starting with Firebolt is nice. On the other hand, like later on, I probably won't be using a lot of it. But then again, there will probably be I will probably be even later in the game coming up on points where Firebolt again might be useful. So I think I'll actually take Fire. It's either one of these. I'm probably not going to use too much in the late game, but because you get a free spell with it, you might as well kind of take it. So I'm going to take Fire Magic just to take Firebolt. Yeah, I don't see myself using Ice when I've got all these other spells here, spell schools. I don't see myself really using Ice Bolt that much. The Frozen Ground is nice, but I'm going to have another character that can do that. And I think I only probably need one character that can do that. So we're going to just go ahead and that's going to be our choice. Light Magic, I'm going to have somebody else doing that better. And like I said, Water Magic, we'll just live without that. So... Alright, so, and you have attributes. Might, Magic, Perception, Destiny, Vitality, and Spirit. Spirit Well, let's start with might. Might basically just increases your damage, and that's all it does. 2% per point. Magic or might increases your damage with melee weapons, right? Magic increases your damage with your damage and effectiveness with all spells, and it's just a flat 2% per level, right? So at Magic 14, I'm increasing all my spell effectiveness by 28%. At 15, it would be 30%. It's very very clear cut and works like it's advertised, right? Perception increases attack values is like kind of chance to hit. It affects your chance to hit. So it increases all attack values for both ranged and melee attacks by 1 per point. And then also on top of that, it increases range damage by 2% per point. And, you know, again, works as advertised. The hit values are, I'm not exactly sure what the formula is, but I think it probably, if you, from what I remember reading, if you have like double the attack of your enemy's defense, it's something like maybe 75% chance to hit is the formula. Something like that, I think is kind of how it works. Anyway, it doesn't matter because we're not using any ranged attacks whatsoever. Destiny. This is where it gets interesting. So, Destiny, every point increases your critical hit chances with everything, including your spells, because spells in this game can get critical hits, by 0.25% per point. So, and it also, on top of that, increases your evade value. So that's your chance to evade physical, melee, and ranged attacks. Now that's interesting, and I was thinking almost of making like a Destiny kind of build where you put everything in Destiny, because on top of the increasing your spell damage through increasing your critical hit chance, it also increases your chance to evade. However, I kind of decided against that for several reasons. First of all, it doesn't increase, whereas you increase magic, and it increases everything, not only your spell damage, but also, your buff spells and stuff like that, and your healing and stuff like that. Destiny does not do that. Destiny just is pure damage. And also, when you run the numbers on it, Might is essentially as effective in spell damage increase as just pumping Destiny, as far as I can calculate. So there's really no reason to do that. It's just interesting for the extra evade value. But that's not even really important, as I've later found out through playing the game. You don't really need to even evade attacks. You can just resist attacks, and that's just as good. So, Vitality basically just increases your health points by 3 for each point, and what can I say? You don't need any Vitality whatsoever. You only need Vitality for a quest, and that is gotten. I get that through items, just getting enough Vitality. I do that through items, and that's all you need to do. So, yeah, you don't need any Vitality in this game because you can get your damage resistance high enough to pretty much be invulnerable, basically. Spirit increases your maximum mana by 3 per point. Now, this is an interesting this is an interesting way to do it. In my last playthrough, I had 3 characters that all max Spirit. Every single stat point they had went into Spirit, and they had like nearing 500 mana at the end of the game with no points in mysticism whatsoever, which also increases your mana, but through skill points. The reason why that's viable is because a lot of the later spells, especially the more powerful spells, require a lot of mana. And if you have a character with just this huge mana well, you can just spam the really high damage spells and not worry about it. Whereas a character with not too much mana is going to have to be, maybe you're going to have to use the cheaper spells because you don't have a lot of mana to burn. So that's where that comes into play. So yes, you don't do as much damage versus a max magic build, but on the other hand, you can spam maybe twice as many spells, whereas the max magic build will probably do like maybe 50% more damage, but you do maybe double damage if you count the fact that you can cast your spells twice. So that's kind of effect. It's kind of the argument for it, and it was it worked fine. But I still think probably the max magic build is the way to go. So that's actually what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put every single stat point I get into magic for this character and all my other characters. Okay, so that's that character. That's the first character. Now, the second character we're going to make is a dwarf. And dwarves... Oh, by the way, humans get 10 error resistance. And start with 2 free skill points, actually, I think. That's, I believe that's incorrect. But, anyway, dwarfs, they get 10 extra fire resistance, and they get 1 extra health per point of vitality. That's actually pretty cool. Although I won't be putting points into their vitality, ever. There are a few potions that add vitality points. I will be giving those potions to those guys because they can get an extra health point out of each of those potions. So, I mean, it's not a really big deal. None of actually these bonuses that these guys get, just racial bonuses, are a big deal, except for maybe the orcs. The orcs probably have the best. Critical hit damage is increased by 20%, and Indomitable... they have a 20% chance to just avoid a negative condition. That's actually pretty good. Both of those pretty good. Unfortunately, the orcs kind of suck, though. But anyway, the dwarf... Yeah. But dwarfs have really good classes. The orcs class does not have really good classes, in my opinion. Anyway... So, Rune Priest, actually, it's not even like the advanced class that's the big deal about this guy. It's the fact that this guy can max fire magic and max light magic, the two of the most powerful magic schools in the game, and max earth, actually, although that I don't consider earth all that useful. But he gets Searing Rune, which is it's actually a really high damage spell. Technically, and it lasts 3 turns, or maybe it lasts more than that if you have it have fire magic maxed. I don't know, but this uses your fire magic skill to kind of calculate its damage, so it can get really high. It's going to get really ridiculously high. This skill here. You can also kill yourself with it if you accidentally throw it on the wrong tile. By the way, I've done that. But dwarves are really good. Their casters are really good anyway. So this is a fire dude. So I'm going to name this guy Zyron, because Heroes of Might Magic 3 had a fire dude named Zyron. Alright. So I'm going to pick... Unfortunately, we already start with a stat point wasted in the spear, which is regrettable, but we can't do anything about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to select... We've got fire magic selected, which is great. Fire magic is great. We're going to select light magic and earth magic. And what I'm going to do with these guys probably is I'm going to max fire magic for sure. Well, I'm going to max fire magic with 1 to start, and the other one is going to start maxing light magic. And light magic is amazingly useful for really the celestial armor spell. And if you get that thing high enough, then you could basically just ignore damage. Any round of damage, no matter how many people are surrounding you and throwing spells at you, you just basically completely ignore the damage if you have a high enough celestial armor, which we will. But there's another reason to max light magic, and that is because it has actually a surprisingly good damage spell at the Grandmaster level, which in my last playthrough surprised me at how absolutely devastating it was. And the reason why it was so devastating is basically because there's almost no enemies in the game that have any significant light magic resistance. So, whereas, fire magic is usually good, but versus some enemies won't be so good because they'll be highly resistant to it, Light magic, you can almost guarantee nobody's going to be resistant to that in the game. In fact, there's only like a handful, maybe there's some water monsters that are kind of resistant to it, and then there's obviously the light elemental is going to be resistant to it. The light elemental, you meet one of those as far as I can tell, and the water elementals, well, we're going to have fire magic anyway, so we don't really care if our light magic user who has a fire damage spell, you know, is resisted by them. He's going to just switch to his fire damage, right? So it's they work well together. What will be resistant to fire magic, we can use the light magic on. What will be resistant to the light magic, we can use the fire magic on. So we're getting both light magic and fire magic on Zyron here. And we're also picking up earth magic because everybody needs earth magic because it has a healing spell that everybody might need access to depending on what happens. Okay, so, and just like the human guy, Zyron is going to put everything in magic. Now, the dwarf doesn't start with a whole lot of magic to begin with, so he's going to be a little bit behind in that regard. He does start with a little bit more vitality, and he's got a significant amount more health than the human, but less mana. But that's okay. We will use items to kind of even that out, so everybody has more or less the same. And my third character, rather, is going to be another dwarf. And that's because this dwarf is going to max light magic primarily first. And it's going to be Rune Priest again. And this time we're going to make it female, and let's see, what did I do? Cynical on? No, we're going to do Cynical on her.
Not choosing me would be a mistake.
Yeah, okay. I'm trying to think of, let's see here. Let's call her Adela. It wasn't really an equivalent, like, light magic user in Heroes of Might Magic 3, but there was a water magic user called Adela. And she was... Let's see, do we have anybody, like, any healer? I guess we'll call her Adela. Alright, so, and she gets actually the same exact thing. But she will start maxing light magic instead of fire magic. And, of course, give her all the magic, everything in magic. Okay, and our last guy is going to be an orc. And I was thinking about making him an elf druid. However, there's a couple of problems with the druid, and there's a couple of advantages to using these dwarf rune priests. These dwarf rune priests can get to expert shield. Actually, they can get to master shield, but you'd be a fool to go that far. But they can get to expert shield. I want all these three characters except the free mage, and if I could use a shield on the free mage, I would, but they can't. But all the last three characters I want to have a shield, and that's mainly not even for the blocking, that's mainly to add armor. Because I'm going to get to a point in the game where I basically negate physical damage by having an armor class that's so high that it's almost like I almost take no damage from physical attacks. But the druid... Couple of problems with the druid. He's actually a pretty good character, but first of all, Harmony, as far as I could tell, that must be bugged because that doesn't seem to function as it advertises. You comment all enemies in sight. Only those around the party can attack you. I don't think so because I've tried that with having shooters in the background there, and the shooters still shot at me. And I don't... Harmony, as far as I could tell, is bugged and doesn't work like it's advertised. Or maybe I'm just misunderstanding how it's supposed to work. It doesn't seem to do anything useful anyway. Nurture seems okay, but you don't really need it as far as I can tell. It's just another healing spell, and we're already going to have... that one earth magic healing spell, plus more healing from light magic. So it's not needed. The real advantage of the Druid class is that you can promote them to Druid Elders so quickly, and thereby you can get, to your Grandmaster level on your spells. And they have Grandmaster Meditation. So they're actually not bad. I mean, I really would want a druid if they could wear a shield. And that's kind of where they kind of drop the ball for me. They can't wear a shield. So, oh well. Anyway, so we're going to use the orc. So, orcs get fears. Critical damage dealt by orcs is increased by 20%. Good. That includes spell critical damage. Indomitable orcs have a 20% chance to avoid negative conditions. Negative conditions are a huge problem, like stun, paralyze, etc. Negative conditions are a huge problem in this game. So that's kind of nice. It's not something you can really count on, but it's kind of a nice addition. And the Orc Shaman, the Blood Caller. So the Blood Caller, when you get to the Blood Caller, when you get to your promotion to Blood Caller, it restores 1% of your mana for each 2% health loss due to enemy attacks. I don't know how significant that's actually going to be, because we're probably not going to take a whole lot of damage anyway. Certainly not through physical attacks. But we will have very low life, so, you know, it wouldn't take much to get, like, a damage of 10% when your health is only, like, 80. So that's just, less than 10 damage, and you're doing, you're getting damaged by 10%, you're restoring 5% of your mana, which will probably have a mana pool of, like, 250 at some point. So, you can see it's actually significant. That's another spell, basically, that you can cast when you get hit. Yeah, I don't know how significant it's going to be, but, it's better than the bonuses for the Druid, anyway, in my opinion. Alright, so since this guy's going to use primarily air magic, I'm going to call him Solmur.
Choose me. Better chances that way.
I'll take heroic, I guess. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of difference between those voices. Anyway. Alright, so he starts with air, he starts with earth. So we're definitely going to be maxing air. It would be really nice if he could max fire, but he can't. He can only choose, he can only get to master fire. So we're going to choose water. And we may or may not actually max water or earth on this guy. I'm not really decided yet. And now I still have one more skill point. I could get a jump on any of these other things that I might put points into. But I think I'm going to choose fire. That way I have yet another guy that can cast Firebolt. So all 4 of our lineup here can cast Firebolt, which is really going to help in the early game. And like I said, they can get Expert's Shield, which is definitely like a bonus, because with Expert Shield, actually with Expert Shield you get the extra 2 blocks, which is huge. I mean, the difference is like night and day. That's like, let's say just using like a regular shield with 1 block, that's 50% chance to block incoming attacks, and then you have, like, on top of that, just 2 more chances. It's such a huge thing, especially early in the game. But the real reason actually we want to use a shield isn't even for the blocks, it's just to stack armor. Okay. Anyway, continue. And of course the orc starts with just a pitiful amount of mana and magic, but anyway, we'll pump that magic up there to 12. And alright, there's our party. Here we go.
What is the meaning of a dream? Only Asher knows. Are they omens warning us of future tragedies? Distant memories dying in the deafening silence of the void? Or are they sometimes both? The death wish of some ancestor bargaining with the dragons that his legacy be carried on. Last night I dreamed such a clear vision of past events. Terrible things I had wanted to forget. They refused to fade away, demanding, pleading to be told one last time. This story begins with what we now call Uriel's deception. during the fabled Elder Wars, wars that once pitched the children of the light against the children of darkness. Uriel, the great archangel, had vowed to avenge his family, slaughtered by the greatest warrior and tactician of the Faceless, Erebos, the master of assassins. For centuries, Uriel, consumed by hatred, planned his revenge. Shortly before the second eclipse, Uriel and his inquisitors provided proof that the Faceless were plotting to rekindle the fires of the ancient wars. Emperor Liam Falcon, an ambitious man, easily enthralled by the Archangel's righteous determination, declared a holy war against the children of darkness. And Uriel's own brother, the Archangel Michael, esteemed and feared general of the ancient angel host, was brought back from the dead to lead the onslaught. But Uriel's plan had one fatal flaw. He underestimated the courage and resourcefulness of the humans he had set out to use in his machinations. There were some who saw through his lies, seeing Uriel's proof as clever fabrications. The murders and sabotages of which the Faceless had been accused were his own doing. Angels cannot lie, or so the saying goes, but there's nothing written saying that they have to tell the truth. Uriel escaped the justice of the courts, but not the judgment of the dragons. Uriel, Michael, and the Emperor Liam perished in the bloody fires of the second eclipse. But a legacy remained, continuing to poison the Empire. When the true extent of Uriel's deception was revealed, the scandal nearly ripped the once great and holy nation apart. Distrust grew between the Empire and its allies. Dissentful whispers could be heard throughout the hallways of the Imperial Court. And outside of the Empire's borders, the colonies and protectorates were clamoring for independence. In an effort to calm the troubled waters, Liam's heiress, the young Empress Gwendolyn Falcon, proclaimed a series of reforms that were immediately unpopular with the more conservative nobles. These tensions came to a head in the Aegean Peninsula. Once a jewel of the Falcon Crown, the great port of Carthal on the Savage Sea was threatening to secede and join the loose coalition of the Free Cities. Skirmishes were multiplying between the rebels and Imperial garrisons. Brigands were stalking the trade routes, and pirates were raiding the coasts. This is a story of a particular group of adventurers who had just set foot on the peninsula for the first time, on a quest to fulfill the dying wish of their mentor. They were called raiders, but would soon be known as legends.
Yeah. I don't know why that volume's so loud. The volume for the rest of the game is normal, but then the volume for that movie is like blows your ears out. All right, so we're starting. Get used to the loading screen. You're going to see a lot of that.
Fool you. They were not mere brigands or adventurers only interested in glory and gold. They believed in a higher calling, an ideal of honor and courage. These values were the legacy of their mentor, Owen, a raider himself, and a veteran of the Battle of Hammer Fall. In a way, it was also their mentor who had led them to the Aegean Peninsula. He had been a son of Carthal, and before his tragic death, he had asked his students to bring back his ashes to the city of his birth, to be buried next to his ancestors. To honor their master's wish, they boarded the first ship willing to take them to the west. As they disembarked in the small, peaceful harbour of Sorpicle by the sea, they could not suspect how far this journey was going to take them.
Okay, so let me go ahead and start by performing a little quick save here. Whoops, and that was the wrong thing to do. I just accidentally rested. Let me reload that quick save, because I just accidentally rested. So you can, you move about on a grid-based system, like in the, say, Might and Magic 1 to 5. Which, when I first saw this, I was horrified. Because I just didn't like it. I didn't like it whatsoever. I also didn't like the combat, the way the combat is done in this game, simply because it just like you'll walk into a room and you'll look around and there's no one there, right? And then you hit like a script or a floor plate or whatever, and all of a sudden you're surrounded by a bunch of enemies. And I really didn't like that. A lot of the game is like that. I didn't like it. I still kind of don't like it, but it's okay. It's not as bad as as my first impression gave me. I have the graphics down, toned down a lot. If I don't do that, then when I go outside into the outside world in this game, then it becomes extremely laggy. It's okay in the towns, but outside it's horribly laggy. So I apologize for having the graphics setting so low, but it really is kind of the best I can do
new
here.
faces. Very good. I suppose you arrived with the morning tide, with that boat from the east. Welcome to Sopagal by the sea. You're raiders, are you not? Adventurers?
And you are? Oh, how rude of me. My name is Dustin. I, too, used to be a raider, but I am retired, which is something you'll hear a lot of here. Sopagal is kind of an utterly boring and sunny place where heroes go to spend their old days when they become tired of the endless warring and adventuring. We need to go to Carthal.
Oh, I guess the news of the current situation hasn't reached the rest of the world yet. Nobody is going in or out of Carthal, my friends. I know from a well-informed source that rebels have taken over the city. They have sealed its gates and closed the harbor while they establish a new government.
Looking for work. Looking to earn some gold and make a name for yourselves, eh? You should go to the town garrison and ask for Captain Maximus. I heard he was looking for some muscle to hire, but I keep forgetting you're new here. Do you want me to show you around? Yes.
Likes new friends.
Alright, I'll walk with you for a little while. When we come to an interesting place, I'll tell you what you need to know about it. Let's go. Okay, so this is your first quest. Escort this guy. He's actually a scout, but he won't be with us for very long. It doesn't really matter. You can hire two hirelings, just like in Might Magic 6 through, I guess was it 9? Did 9 have hirelings? God, I don't remember. Anyway, Might Magic 6 through 8 anyway. Two hirelings, and they give, some kind of bonus. Although you can't stack them. Like, there's an experience guy that you can get, but if you get the other experience guy, from what I understand, it does not stack.
I like those buildings.
So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to open up this barrel. And I'm just going to stack, just to make it simple, because I would otherwise have to have, like, a lookup table for what all these different, like, barrels give, and which member, like, needs it to kind of even it out throughout my party. Instead of that, I'm just going to give it all to the left-hand guy. So that's kind of to make up for the fact that this guy is a little bit more squishy than everybody else in terms of his hit points, and even like the fact that his armor class for quite some time is going to be lower. So we're going to go right straight over to the garrison. Here we are, the town garrison barracks. Maximus should be in there. I'm not going inside in any case. I don't exactly abide by the law, you see. Oh, that's interesting to know, Mr. Dude. Okay. If you want to visit Maximus now, it's farewell for us. Continue to the city... no, enter the garrison.
Farewell.
Farewell. Alright, so he leaves, and... okay, so this is unidentified relic. This is the... oh, God, whatchamacallit? That's a Thunder Helmet, I think. That's that thing that I added by editing a file. So you're not... well... You can get that. It's the normal relic, but the only way you could get it was the normal way was to have a floppy disk that was handed out at, I think, some show or something like that, where you got the code off that floppy disk and you put it in, you typed it in and redeemed that code. But I did it by editing a file. That's how I got it. I don't actually know if you're supposed to get it here or where you're supposed to get it. I have no idea. I just followed someone's directions online. So anyway, we're going to go enter Sorpigal, the town garrison. Maximus, yes, what do you want? We're looking for work. We've been told that you might need some raiders. So you think you're raiders, eh? Ha! Don't make me laugh. Have you ever been in a fight in your life? For your life? Have you ever looked an enemy in the eye as you pierced his heart with your blade? I thought as much. Go home and stop wasting my time. How can we prove ourselves to you?
I hope your services will be
You're
worth
persistent.
the price you're asking.
I'll give you that. Good. That's one of the qualities you'll need to survive as raiders. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a simple task, and we'll see if you can manage it. If you succeed, we can talk about more serious jobs. What do you say? Don't worry, I won't ask you to go kill rats in a cellar. Hey, we'll ask us to go kill spiders, though. A couple of villagers have disappeared lately, and my best lead is a drunkard who claims he spotted spiders coming out of a town's well at night. I didn't believe him until I saw the eight-legged freaks with my own eyes. Nasty things. So you and I were going down to descend down that well and clear the nest. You're not afraid of a few spiders, are you? Oh, and by spiders I mean big ones. Let's go. Okay, so so Maximus is now another hireling, and he's actually a really good one, by the way. He will attempt to block the first 2 ranger melee strikes directed at your party each turn. The blocking chance is 50%. Now, there is a better version of this type of hireling later on, but there's only one, and this guy is actually pretty useful at this point in the game. That is really a big deal. Like, that gives you an average of 75% to block at least one attack, which is pretty darn good. Anyway, but first, what we're going to do is we're going to go around and loot all the freebies that we can get our hands on here. I'm going to pick up that book here. And let's see, want to go back here? I think I do want to go back here. There's a quest that I need to pick up here. Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't right here. It was somewhere. Where the heck was it? I think I know it's up here. Alright. Yeah, it's up here. There's also a spider in this thing. I could go get and cure poison first, but I'm not going to bother. Alright, so we should be able to just one round this guy with Firebolt. Oh, so close. Alright. Well, anyway, with a little bit more luck we would have. But the important thing is we didn't get poison there, and we didn't have to use an antidote, which was nice. Okay, yes. So a little water magic resistance. And there's a quest right here that I need to get. Okay, how can I help you? Quest the Fallen Flowers. Flowers for fallen heroes. My brother Sirvin was a soldier and he died a decade ago defending Castle Port Myron against the demons. Duke Anton of Griffin, who liberated Port Myron at the end of the Second Eclipse, had a shrine erected in remembrance. Okay, so we got to take this guy's flowers to a shrine. Yeah, got it. Got it. Alright. So basically, you know, it's like, kind of like in the earlier Might and Magic's use. You start by kind of looting your surrounding area for little stuff. Let me get this book here. Sea shanties and arbor songs. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and get my second hireling, which is also quest hireling. These quest hirelings you can't get rid of, and this character is also no exception here. She has a quest, and until we do that quest, she will join our party. However, she's actually very useful because she'll detect traps and secrets for us too at the same time. And that'll help us kind of until we can do that for ourselves. So we're going to go ahead and get her right now. May Elrath brighten your day. What can I do for you? Quest the Highwayman. I have been sent from Whitecliff by the authorities of the Unicorn Duchy to investigate a series of thefts that have occurred on the main road connecting Carthol to the rest of the Empire. I think I pinpointed the location of the Brigand's Den. I'm looking for some brave souls to help me bring those bandits to justice and retrieve one particular item from their lair. Are you interested? Yeah.
I hope your services will be worth the
Elrath,
price
bless
you're
you.
asking.
Let's not lose any time. We need to go get them before they smuggle the item to the free cities of the east, or worse. Let's go. Alright, so
Always happy to help, if asked nicely.
Rosalie anticipates traps, secrets, and enemies in the vicinity of the party. Not crucial, but right now we can't detect secrets ourselves because we don't have the spell. Actually, we could get it, but it's kind of nice to have somebody that does that automatically. So she'll stay with us for a little while until the quest is done, and then she'll go. But in you know, until that time, she's actually kind of useful. So we actually don't do her quest until we absolutely have to, just to keep her in our party for a little bit longer.
Yes.
Here's resistance to air
Something
magic.
is
So
coming
these
our way. Be
barrels
ready.
also. Oh yeah, I should talk about resistances, by the way. Okay. So here on the stat screen, let me talk about this for just a second. So we've got the attributes. I explained all the attributes, right? Might, magic, perception, destiny, vitality, and spirit. Okay. Then we've got defense, armor value. So the armor value. Let's go to somebody who actually has armor. Oh, never mind. Nobody has armor. Okay, well, it would be, like, if we had armor, the armor value would be greater than 1, right? However, you think armor value and you're like, oh, that means, you know, it takes some, you know, maybe it takes some damage off. But it's actually, what it is actually, it's a percent. Like, 1 would be 1% all the way up to, I assume, I've never reached 100, but I assume at 100... it would be capped, and that would be 100%. And if you had 100% armor, actually, I'm not sure, but I think you would not take any damage, or maybe even just 1 damage per you know, or 1% of the damage of any kind of damage done to you, right? So it's something that that wasn't immediately clear to me how that worked, but that's actually how it works. You can think of armor value as a physical damage reduce, you know, percent. So 50, if you have an armor value of 50, that's 50% of physical damage ignored, which is huge because you can get an extreme amount of armor very easily, which we will be doing. Then you have your evade value. That's your chance to basically just dodge an attack outright, a physical attack. Of course, you can't dodge magic. And then block chance. That's yet another chance to actually dodge a physical attack. And you have a number of blocks per round, and there's general blocks, as it says, and melee blocks, and melee blocks only work versus melee attacks, not ranged attacks. General blocks work against both. So once an enemy has hit you and you've blocked and you've used either tried to block and failed or blocked and succeeded, then that uses up a block that you have, and then you can't use that anymore for the next round. So another enemy might attack you, and you might have already used your blocks, and so you don't block at all, and then they just hit you, and only your armor reduces the damage at that point. Basically, what I would say it means is you can just think of the fact that if you're trying to do physical damage, you have to not only get past the physical resistance, the armor value, and then past that you not only have to get past the evade value, or actually the evade value first. You have to get past the evade value, then the armor value, and then the blocks, or whichever order that works in. I guess it might be the blocks first. But that's 3 things you have to get past to do damage physically, which is why magic is so much better. So anyway, just, yeah, anyway, that's how that works. And then your resistances, primordial, fire, water, earth. Okay, so you have your resistances to the various magic types. And basically, that, strangely enough, that does not seem to be able to resist, like, curses or feeble mind or anything like that, or stun. It doesn't seem like those work against, like, magic effects cast on you. It seems like the magic effects always work. I'm not sure if that's true. It shouldn't be true, but it seems like in practice that's what I've noticed, that like if a dark magic spell, I think that it's the Feeble Mind spell, which I was having so much trouble with in my last playthrough at the end. Feeble Mind was just being thrown at me from every which direction all the time. And I had like 50% in like dark magic resist at the time. And I don't remember resisting it ever. So, anyway, but versus magical damage, it basically works as just as a flat percentage resistance. So this my free mage has 11% resistance to air magics, basically all the way up to 100. That's basically how it works. And resistances are a little bit harder to get up there versus armor. But we will, be getting like maybe 60%, maybe even higher resistances. We're going to work hard trying to get our resistances up there because later in the game you do run against a lot of magic damage. So, yeah, early in the game physical damage is pretty common. Magical damage starts to get more common later on in the game, though. All right, so this is going to be a spider. Good. Didn't one round him either. Yeah. Okay. But we didn't get poisoned either. That was nice. And we got a medium health potion out of that. So, unlike in the previous Might and Magic games, you don't have to search a corpse or they don't leave a bag or anything. They just automatically, you get the item. They only leave a bag if you don't have room for the item. And then it dumps itself on the ground so you can get it later. And, inventory space is a real problem in this game. You can't, like, store your stuff from your inventory in, like, another chest or something like that. Like, I can't go throw my items in this chest and just save them there. What you have here in your inventory, that's as much space as you get in the entire game. There's one hireling you can get to double the inventory space, but that's it. But it's really not worth using. So basically, I'm going to be constantly selling off stuff that I don't need, and that's going to be kind of a big factor. I'm going to have to go back and forth and make sure that I don't have a full inventory so I can pick up more stuff so I can sell it, because money is a big thing in this game, especially on warrior mode. Money, you run out of money very quickly. And in fact, we're gonna go help ourselves run out of money right here. I'm gonna go to the library. We're gonna learn spells. We're gonna learn one crucial spell. I'm wondering who I should have probably give this to Solmir, because he might max Earth. So I'm gonna give him Cure Poison because we're gonna get poisoned a lot, basically. So, and it's much better to do that rather than have to actually use a bunch of antidote potions. So then we're gonna go over here, and there's a barrel here. Oh yeah, and I still didn't get done talking. I need to talk some more about the spells. So why am I doing what I'm doing with the spells? So let's go ahead and unhide the unlearned spells, and I'll go talk about. Well, let's start with Prime. Prime magic is maybe the most useful magic. It's got some really, really good stuff here. I wouldn't say all of it is useful, but nearly all of it is useful. So we've got Arcane Ward. Very useful spell. Each party member is granted +3 resistance to all schools of magic for 6 turns. And both the +3 resistance and the 6 turns is increased by your, effectiveness with arcane magic. So that's going to get pretty high. That +3 resistance is going to turn into maybe, it might turn into as high as maybe +20 resistance at later stages of the game. So +20 resistance to all schools, that's pretty significant. So that's something we'll be using a lot, especially towards the later of the game. It's very, very useful. Yeah, I think definitely all around arcane magic is the most useful magic school as far as I'm concerned. Sundering, the armor of an enemy is reduced by 3. Oh, sorry, within a range of 3 is sundered. and reduced by 11. So that if I had a physical damage dealer, which I don't, but if I did, that would be huge because that negative to their armor value, that increases with your with your power, your spell power basically, and that could get really significant. I mean, that could take them from being highly resistant physically to dipping them into the negatives. So that is really, really amazing. And it can't be resisted as far as I know. And it works on multiple enemies. So that's huge. And I think there's also another spell with Earth Magic that also does a similar thing. So I'm not sure if they stack, they might. So this would be a way to really like bring down a boss really quick. Because like I said, you times that armor value by about 9, so 99. So that's about, I mean, if you really wanted to make a character focused on getting prime magic as high as possible, you could count on maybe 9, maybe even 10 times. So 10 times armor value, or let's just say 9 times. It's like I said, it's 99. That would take an enemy that has a resistance of 99, which is basically immune to physical damage, and bring them all the way to 0, which is no resistance to physical damage whatsoever. So, as you can imagine, Sundering is pretty nice if you have melee damage dealers. In fact, I would, if I had a melee damage dealer, I would have a somebody with prime magic, and I would max prime magic for sure. Yeah, just for Sundering. So that's pretty nice. It's a very nice spell. Time Stasis, target an enemy close combat. I want to point out that all of these are novice level skills. Like some of the most useful arcane skills are or prime magic skills are novice. So that's another cool thing about it. So Time Stasis, enemy in close combat is trapped in a timeless state. They can't be attacked nor attack removed for 1 turn. That's actually really useful, though. Really, really useful in certain circumstances where you're dealing with a tough enemy and you don't maybe... you can't really take a hit from him. What you can do is you can deal your damage with all your other characters, and then one other character can time stasis them, and so they don't get their turn, so they never get that attack. I may or may not end up using that. I probably will use that at some circumstance. So it's a nice thing to have, and I think probably you should have a lot of characters with this. And I do have 2 other characters that can actually learn Prime Magic, and I will teach them Prime Magic, probably just for this and a couple of other things. Mana Surge, this is probably the least used spell from this school, by the way. Mana Surge. Next time the target enemy with a range of 5 casts a spell, he's dealt 50 to 60 damage prime. Now, this can be useful in certain situations, like you might be up against a tough mage, which is, which is ripping your party to shreds, but, sometimes, like with a all magic party, you don't have a good way to deal lots of damage to them quickly. This will deal quite a bit of damage. The amount of damage this does is pretty impressive. Like, it does as much as Implosion, which is a pretty good spell. Trouble is, it's kind of hard to target, especially if the guy is not close range and you can't click on them to select them, then it's hard to actually target him, the mage in between, say, a group of melee users, which is not going to do anything to. So, I don't really have a lot of use for this spell, but there are few uses. It is useful in some early game circumstances. Later in the game, I won't be using that. Probably one of the most useful spells, Dispel Magic. Dispels all positive and negative conditions from all party members. So that could be used for getting rid of things like stun, paralyze, feeble mind, but it does it for every party member. There's no other spell in the game that you can use to just wipe clean all the bad effects off of all your party. Unfortunately, this is it. It's Dispel Magic, and that's the only one you have. And I would almost consider it's so important that I would almost consider maybe even getting it for, even though it is, I do have to get I do have to get Prime Magic to Expert to use it, which is quite an investment. I almost might get at least one of these other characters that as well, just so I have 2 characters that can do that, because it is so useful. Actually, no, I probably will use scrolls. If I'll probably keep a few scrolls of Dispel Magic, but it's incredibly, incredibly useful because there's just nothing else that really compares to it. Unfortunately, the Light Magic does not have a similar spell, which is you think it should, but it doesn't. So yeah, just being able to wipe clean all the bad effects on all your characters. Unfortunately, it also removes like buffs and stuff, but you know, when you're in that kind of situation, it doesn't really matter. You just gotta, you know, you're probably in a dire situation where this is the only character who's not like paralyzed or something. You gotta get rid of, you know, all that stuff off of all your characters. So very, very important spell, actually. Incredibly important. Incredibly used a lot in the in-game in my last playthrough. Heroic Destiny. All party members are granted +6 Destiny. Last 3 turns. Incredibly, well, I wouldn't say it's not the most useful spell, but it definitely is nice. So Destiny adds, for every point it adds, 0.25% to your chance to critical hit. That also works for magic, because magic critically hits. So I will definitely, as a buff, I will definitely be using this, especially for things like bosses, to get my magic the highest chance to do a critical hit. Because strangely enough, the damage you do in critical hits in this game is not what you think it would be. Usually it's like double damage. Well, in this game, at least for magic, it's like 3 or 4 times the damage. So it's huge. Getting your critical hit chance up there is really, really worth it. It really pays off. So again, Heroic Destiny, you could probably get that. We'll probably get that to, instead of +6 Destiny, they'll probably give me more like 54 Destiny when I get my my free mage fully maxed out with his prime magic. So that'll be a significant buff. So 54. Shoot, that's an extra. Let's say that's an extra 13% chance to critically hit. I'd say that's significant. That's really significant, especially given the amount of critical hit damage that you do. So definitely really nice. Identifies one item. Okay, so this identifies items. Items come unidentified, and you've got to identify them if they're magic. Yeah, pretty useful. There's not much to say. Actually, otherwise, I think you have to take them to town and you have to pay for them to be identified. So definitely saves you money. Very important. Like I said, so far, just about all of these spells are useful, which is not something you can say for the other schools, let me tell you. Implosion. This is a really nice damage spell. So it does quite a chunk of damage to the first target, and then to the surrounding targets it does not so much. Let's say 30% of the damage, something like that. I'm not sure exactly how it's calculated, but it ends up being really nice. Also, should be noted that not a lot of the enemies that you're going to face have a very high prime magic resistance. So it's good against a lot of enemies who would otherwise might be resistant to other types of magic. So very, very nice damage spell. And we'll be getting this guy a really high implosion. And it'll be good. It's good all the way up till the end game. It's very, very good. Spirit Beacon. Summons a beacon or teleports the party to the last summoned beacon. So you can only, like, instead of Lloyd's Beacon, like in the previous Might and Magics, you have Spirit Beacon. The Lloyd's Beacon, what was it, Might Magic 9, you had one of them, you had basically a set of stored locations based on your skill in water magic. Unfortunately, in this game, and it seems like they implemented this as an afterthought, you basically you put a beacon down. There's only one beacon per party, and you put a beacon down, and you can teleport back to that location. So there's no like putting multiple beacons down, you know, one for your like, you know, your favorite town or your favorite vendor or something like that. And then one over here, one over there, maybe up to 5 beacons and teleporting all across the place. None of that. It's basically just, you know, you get one spot where you can put it, and then you can always come back there with the beacon. Oh, okay, it's better than nothing. It's definitely useful. I certainly used it in the last game. But it's too bad that you can't have like more than one location. But like I said, it seems like when they implemented this, it was more of an afterthought, and it was also, from what I understand, kind of buggy. Maybe still is. Let's see. Hour of Power. Might, magic, perception, and destiny values of all the party members are increased by 3 last 12 turns. So that's really, really good. Again, multiply that 3 by about 9, which is 27. So all the values, all might, magic, perception. Now, magic also increases your damage. So, in your spell effectiveness. So, you know, yeah, destiny increases your critical hit chance. So not only do we have heroic destiny, which will up our critical hit chance by, let's say, 54. Then on top of that, we'll have another 27 by Hour of Power. So we'll have around 90. Yeah, 91. Destiny. Now that's almost like it'll be close to us getting an extra 25% chance to critically hit after we cast both of these spells on top of each other. And yes, they do stack. So that's pretty crazy. So I told you, like, Prime Magic was the best magic school, I think, the most, by and large, the most useful. In every game, I think you should have a Prime Magic user and max their Prime Magic to the hilt. Because that's really, really powerful. And it'd be just as powerful if I was running, like, a might-based party, except for this guy. All of that would still really help. Anyway. And, of course, Time Stop. Time Stop is, yeah, Time Stop's the class ability. I haven't used it yet, but it seems pretty good. Stop time outside a spear for 3 turns. Basically gives you 3 turns to kind of like get your act together and then go back to battle. You know, that's actually, based on my experience in battles in this game, that would be really, really useful. Alright, so actually let's go to... he can't get all the fire spells, so let's go to someone who can. Okay, so Zyron, let's talk about fire. Fire ward, 7% fire resistance. Okay, resistances. Remember now, I can cast the arcane ward and get fire resistance on top of the fire resistance from fire ward. So all of those will be used when we're fighting bosses that do like magic damage probably. Torchlight. Now the torchlight stuff, and there's 2 light spells, I think. There's torchlight and there's something from light magic. They're both pretty weak, like, in terms of their ability to illuminate. And I don't think they stack on top of each other. So, but it's definitely necessary, because some of the dungeons in this game are frickin' dark. I mean frickin' dark. So you definitely need at least torchlight. And I would say, here's actually another spells from another school that lets you kind of like have kind of almost an infrared type of vision. But I don't know. Torchlight, yeah, definitely needed. Lasts quite a bit too. Lasts quite a while. Firebolt. Gives incredible damage, and especially considering that the early enemies you'll face are really weak to this. So definitely a good spell. A+, I'd say. Danger Sense. You sense the presence of nearby enemies and see them on the minimap. I don't consider this all that useful, because one of the reasons is because a lot of the time you'll just be ambushed by enemies via script, and you know, you couldn't see them before because they didn't exist before. They just appeared out of thin air. So, you know, prepare to be ambushed many, many times in this game, and you can't do anything about it. So, danger sense, what good is that? I don't know. Maybe. I usually never use it. Maybe I should. Burning Determination. So, Burning Determination bolsters the party, protecting them from getting paralyzed, sleeping, or stunned. Yeah, really important, actually, and particularly in a lot of battles. Being stunned, well, first of all, you should know that if your party member is unconscious somehow, be it via stun, paralyze, or sleep, or you know, knocked out, or you know, health points below 0, they don't get experience. So that's a big problem. So if you've got, like, I find myself, like if I got a party member that's stunned, I find myself bringing them out of that stun state before I kill any more enemies because I don't want them to lose any experience. So, yeah, Burning Determination, very important spell, actually. Very important. Inner Fire. All party members are granted +5 might value. So, it's actually more important than you might think for a magic party because I won't be putting any, not even 1 point into might per level. I need some might to be able to open some secret doors, and this is how I'm going to get it, is by casting Inner Fire at a high level. And that's going to give me enough might to open those doors. So it's actually quite important, even though I have no other use for it. Fireball. Hurls a fireball. So this is not really as good as Firebolt, in my opinion. Even if you want to, like, unless you have 3 enemies that you're hurling this at, it's better to probably just cast Firebolt. But we probably still will get it just for those cases where there are 3 enemies in front of us. Let's see. Fire Shield. All party members are protected by Fire Shield. Dealing 5 to 8 retaliation damage. Now, okay, so times that 5 to 8 by 9. You end up getting, like, what, 45 to 72. It's not a lot of damage. There are certain enemies that hit a lot where, you know, 45 to 72 damage each time they strike might actually add up. However, I don't know. We might experiment with that because remember, we're going to get our physical damage resistance so high that enemies can wail on us for days and it won't really do much. So, you know, that might actually be something I invest in just to save my mana in the, like, say, the mid-game. So maybe I can just go up and just tank a bunch of hits and have the enemies kill themselves on Fire Shield instead of me having to cast a bunch of damage spells. I'm not sure. Remember, the last playthrough I did was very different than this one, so that might be useful. I don't know. We'll see. Fire Blast shoots a blast of fire, dealing quite a bit of damage, actually. Now, Fireball was half that, less than half that, 20 to 34. This one's 47 to 61, so the average damage of this is about twice, at least, of Fireball. But it costs 45 mana, which is not twice the cost. It's 1.5 times the cost. So this is actually a much better spell than casting Fireball. And it also hits each enemy. It doesn't hit, like, a group of enemies. Each enemy in front of you, from what I understand, gets blasted by this. Good spell. Really good spell. Only requires Master of Fire Magic, which is good. Because we can get Master of Fire Magic very early. So, yeah, very good. Fire Blast, good one. And the big one, Fire Burst, this, as far as I know, does the most damage from any spell, as far as I know. 74 to 88. Now, just as a comparison, yeah, 50 to 64 was Implosion. This one's 74 to 88. So it's about a good, you know, almost 30% more damage. It's a big one, but it's really expensive, 60 mana. So this is one of those that, you know, you can destroy whatever's around you, but, you know, you're going to be mana drained for a while. Because it's just extremely expensive. This is where it would come in handy to just put all your points in Spirit and get a ton of mana so you can just spam this all day. But we're not going to do that. So we probably won't be using this a whole lot, just because the mana cost is so huge. But it hits everything around you. So there are a lot of instances in this game where you're going to be just surrounded by enemies, and this would be a great thing to cast in those circumstances. I could think of so many instances where, in my last playthrough, where I was mobbed on all sides, and this would be your go-to spell right there. And then there's Searing Rune. Create a rune in the position of the enemies. With a range of 1, the rune will inflict 61 to 74 fire damage to everyone at its position and around the rune. So this, I experimented with this a bit the last game. I would probably be casting another fire spell than this. The only reason I cast it the last game was because I did not max fire magic the last game with my Rune Priest, strangely enough. But I probably wouldn't be using this in most situations. I think if you're looking for something like that, you probably want to go like Fire Burst or Fire Blast. It did do a lot of damage, but of course it's really expensive. It's 50 mana. I would think Fire Blast would be better than that, but I don't know. Fire Blast is not quite as much damage. This stays around for 3 turns. I don't know. I don't see me using this too much when I've got max fire magic, really. Anyway, so that's fire magic. Let's see here. What else do we got? We want to go water? See, it's water. Okay, water ward. Yep, typical water resistance. Good to have. Not a lot of late game. Not a lot of water damage being thrown at you. I would say water resistance in the late game. Once you get past like the water elementals, which is only really the first third of the game, I would say you don't really need water resistance. Consciousness awakens the target sleeping party member. I don't even remember one time getting slept, so I would say this is of zero use as far as I know. I'm sure it can happen somewhere. I don't remember ever getting slept. Yeah, I can't think of one time. So this is not of any use as far as I remember. Strange, but I don't remember ever getting slept. Frozen ground. This is useful. You freeze the ground beneath a group of enemies within a range of 3. They can't move for 1 turn. So basically, kind of everyone in front of you, up to 3 tiles, gets frozen in their spot and they can't move forward. I will probably be making use of this early, but not later. So I find that controlling, like if the enemies don't get to you, they can't hit you and do damage, and that's a big thing early, for sure. Now later on, you've got other ways to deal with it, or the enemies won't be doing any damage because your resistance is so high. But early on, keeping the enemies from actually, getting within a melee range is a big deal, and Frozen Ground is one of the go-to spells to do that, and it's a level 1 spell, thank you. So, it's not like you need anything. You need really to invest too many points in water to actually get it, and it works wonders. So, useful spell. Ice Bolt. Now, the damage on Ice Bolt is 19 to 32 for 15 mana. The damage on Firebolt is like 1.5 times for 20 mana. So Ice Bolt already isn't looking all that good. However, it is good for enemies that are, strong to fire. Also, it decreases the enemy strikes by 1. So enemies have probably more than 1 attack. You can decrease one of those attacks, down to a minimum of 1. So, it also has a pretty good range of 4. Not a lot of the spells go that far. I don't consider it a very good spell. It's probably useful to have on one person just for certain situations where you might want to like decrease the enemy's strike, like a dangerous, close range fighter. Um, maybe you want to decrease their strikes by one. So it's useful. It's mostly useful in the beginning of the game. After that, I would say no, not very useful. Ice prison. Target enemy in close combat gets captured by an ice prison for one turn. The enemy can't move. Can attack or move, but also can't be attacked. Kind of like stasis. It's kind of like time stasis, I think, is the idea. I haven't actually used that one, maybe ever. Ice prison. So, again, time stasis, I almost never use that in the late game anyway. So I imagine ice prison wouldn't be much useful. And by the way, bosses are all immune to this stuff anyway. So for the guys you probably really want to use this on, probably not going to be able to do it anyway. Circle of Winter. So I wouldn't say ice prison all that useful. Also, you have to get expert water magic to use it. Whereas time stasis, you only have to have novice prime magic. Circle of Winter, a circle of frost radiates from the party, dealing 13 to 23 damage, so it's completely crap damage. To each enemy around and decreases their strikes by 1. But it hits every enemy around you. Yeah, again, you gotta get expert water magic, and it's like... It does crap damage. I think there are better spells that are novice spells. For instance, Sparks does comparable damage for much less mana. And, yeah, 15 mana. And I guess, actually, Sparks damage is better than that. Huh! Yeah. Circle of Winter, completely crap. It's just the damage is just too crap. And you have to get expert water magic to use it, I would say, for all those reasons. Thumbs down on that one. Water flows freely. Cure target paralyzed party member. Yeah, paralyzed does happen quite often. Usually how I deal with paralyzed in a lot of cases is to just use the spell Dispel. That usually does it, and that does it for everybody. But in certain circumstances, if I happen to have expert water magic, then water flows freely is a nice way to cure paralyzed on just one guy. Would be nice if it did that for everybody, but unfortunately, yeah, there don't seem to be that kind of spells that remove all status effects from everyone except for Dispel, unfortunately. Useful, kind of. I do find paralyzed to be a problem, but not that great. Blizzard. Okay. Each enemy in front of the party is dealt 32 to 45 damage, and their strikes is decreased by 1. For only 20 mana, it's actually pretty cheap for the amount of damage it's doing. Although it still doesn't equal Implosion. Implosion's still a lot better than that, damage-wise. But it does hit every guy in front of the party. It actually seems good. I don't remember using that too much, though. If ever. But the damage seems good. I'll tell you the problem with these, like, later ice spells is they're all close range. I think. Each enemy in front of the party. I believe this is literally just people right in front of you. It doesn't go back any farther than that, and that's a big problem. With all of these water spells as far as I remember. Liquid membrane. You generate a transparent and fluid membrane, which protects the party for 3 turns, reducing incoming damage by 6%. So again, times 6 by 9, you get about 54. So you get about 54% damage reduction. And I believe that happens before the damage is further reduced by things like armor or resistances, by the way. And so is the turns. The turns is also increased by let's say 9 if you were to really pump up water. So that is significant. I don't find it necessary, though. I find being able to reduce damage just fine, and because water magic doesn't really give anything but like a few good things. I didn't. I did actually get a max water mage the last game, but I don't find it to be really all that effective because I think if you invest all these points into school, it needs to be not only have great buff spells, but also great damage spells at the same time. And water magic doesn't really do very good damage. The reason is really just the range. It does have decent damage spells if you're in range. Tsunami deals 45 to 58 damage to all enemies in front of the party, pushing them away. Now, this I did find useful. Unfortunately, it's just everybody in front of you. It doesn't go any farther back than that. But this I found to be a very good spell. And it helped me a lot in instances where I was getting surrounded by nasty melee guys, and they were just sitting there pounding on me. Although this game, that shouldn't be a problem. We can let melee guys be all around us, pounding on us as much as we want, because we're going for a lot of physical damage resist. But I did find Tsunami to be pretty cool, and actually did pretty good damage. 45 to 58 is actually pretty good damage. It does cost 40 mana. It is kind of an expensive spell, though. So let's also go Earth. Earth Ward, okay, so Earth Resistance. I don't find a lot of enemies doing Earth damage that I can remember. But, well, maybe there are a few. I think in the end game it's mostly dark damage that everybody's doing to you. But anyway, Earth Ward, yeah, okay, fair enough. Entangle, this is actually pretty useful early. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it roots somebody in the ground for that turn and they can't move. And that's going to be a big deal early. So it's something that's nice early, not too useful later. I don't ever use it later in the game, but it is a useful spell early in the game. Unfortunately, the problem with Earth, I'd say, is it's heavily resisted by a lot of particularly late-game units, like the Poison Cloud and stuff. Not very effective versus a lot of the units later on, a lot of the enemies. But it does have very useful spell. Regeneration restores 19 to 26 health each party member immediately and 10 per turn to the next 3 turns. Yeah, that's huge. Actually, especially once you get, once you get powered up with your magic ability, that becomes huge. Just at level, and it's a novice level spell, and it gives you basically all you need through the whole game, particularly if you got not a lot of hit points. Remember, we're not going to be pumping vitality, so what this will eventually restore, even at novice level, will be sufficient to fully regenerate our whole party with one cast, basically. This is a really amazing spell, and it's the reason why all my characters start with Earth Magic, because we're going to get this for everybody. Cure Poison. You run into a lot of poison in this game, so everybody's going to have Cure Poison at some point, because you run into a lot of poison. You get poisoned a lot. Poison Spray. So, does puny damage, and then does damage per turn. I'm not sure for how many turns, but it's, yeah, we might use this. Well, actually, no, Expert Earth Magic. We'll probably never use this unless we get, well, we'll get Expert Earth Magic with someone at some point, just to get Stone Skin. But this is not very good. It's not very good. Stone Skin. The skin of each party member hardens like a stone. This increases armor value by 8, lasts 3 turns. Now, check this out. If you really wanted to go full tilt on Earth Magic, so times that 8 by 9, you get 72. You could, in theory, get 72%, an extra 72 armor if you really went out of your way. Or actually, that doesn't sound right. Because I did go, let's see, I did max Earth Magic on one of my characters, and I didn't remember it that high. I remember around 22 something. But anyway, it'll be, yeah, I remember it lasting for 6 turns, and I remember the armor value of being about 22, 6 or 7 turns, let's say, and the armor value was by 22. Still, even if you get the armor value around 22 or so, that's huge if you have, say, 60 armor and bump it up to 82 armor. That's 82%. That's essentially having the damage again from 60% armor. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. So we will definitely get that, but that's really the only reason. That and regeneration are the only reasons we're going to have Earth Magic on somebody to any extent. Strength of Earth cures a target weakened party member. I don't care about being weakened because my characters aren't melee damage dealers or physical damage dealers. Poison Cloud does puny damage and then does puny damage each turn. Pretty worthless in my opinion. Acid Splash does, for a master skill, it does pretty puny damage and reduces armor. Again, I don't care about armor. I don't care about block attempts. None of that matters because I'm not a physical damage dealer. And then the biggest disappointment with the Earth Magic, Crushing Weight. So you remember, what was it? It was Mass Distortion. That's what it was in Might and Magic. So that did, I believe it did a certain percentage of their health, but that percentage increased with your skill in Earth Magic in the previous Might and Magic games, right? Well, as far as I can tell, no matter how high your skill in Earth Magic is, Crushing Weight always does 15% of the current target health. So it's basically worthless. It's basically, if it's scaled, it would be interesting, but I think it's, I don't believe it scales. And why do 15% of his current health when you could probably do like 25% of his current health with just a damage spell? Which is, how it's going to work out. So, useless. Absolutely useless. Earth Magic has 2 good spells for, like, the late game as far as I can tell. 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 5... 2 out of 10. So that's not very good. Air Magic. So, Air Ward... Yeah, okay, Air Resistance. Necessary. Sparks. Now, this is kind of neat early. This is your first, like, your earliest spell that does damage to everybody surrounding you. And you do get surrounded in this game quite a bit, even in the early game. So this is kind of neat. It's kind of a good thing to have, actually. So Sparks does what is puny damage, really, but actually pretty good damage if you're surrounded. If you're surrounded and you times that damage by all your targets around you, then you're coming out pretty well. So Sparks is actually pretty good, at least early. I wouldn't say... we're probably not going to use it later, but, early game that damage, that's pretty good. Wind Shield increases your evade value against range attacks by 13 for 3 turns. So that could get pretty ridiculous if you have an air specialist that really pumps air magic. That could get pretty high. So that's actually pretty significant, although I don't usually use it, but I think it's probably a good idea, and there are certain battles where I certainly would recommend something like that. So, okay, pretty good spell. Gust of Wind. Gust of Wind starts blowing and deals 5 to 10 damage air to target with enemy within a range of 2. The target is pushed back and dealt 5 to 10 physical damage. So this is one of the few spells, I can only think of another one, that actually does physical damage also. Now, there are a couple of reasons. First of all, this is good for just getting enemies, pushing them back and kind of getting them out of your face. That way they can't, melee strike you. We'll be doing that a lot in the early game. However, even in the late game, there might be a couple of instances where I might use this just because of the physical damage. Because we can reduce the physical damage of an enemy with a curse, and then cast, Gust of Wind, and have that physical damage part deal a lot more than it really should. So, it's something that I do use a lot in the early game, and might even use it in about the mid game for a particular enemy. But really, other than a few instances, it's not very good for damage anyway. But it is useful for repositioning an enemy. Eagle Eye increases your perception by +5 and lasts for 3 turns. Okay, so that's going to be necessary to open traps, and that's basically it. So That's how we're going to open all the traps in the game without any ever putting a point in perception. So, yeah, necessary spell. Lightning Bolt. Hurls a bolt of lightning on the target within a range of 4, dealing 21 to 44 damage. Only 15 mana, so let me do a comparison here. So Firebolt does, let's see, does a lot more damage than that, actually. Well, Firebolt does a little bit more damage, average damage, and only costs 20, while this costs 15 and does less damage. It's a good spell. It's, yeah, Lightning Bolt is a good spell. It just does seem like a lot of enemies that you run into early are resistant to it. That's the biggest problem, and you don't get the, until later, you don't get, a way to reduce their resistances. So, it's a good spell, for the mana. I think it's a pretty good spell. Solid damage spell. Clear Mind. Clears the mind of a feeble-minded target member. I will probably be trying to get, like, rings and things that make me immune to Feeble Mind because it's so prevalent in the later game. So I probably won't be needing this much, but, in the early game at least, this will be kind of useful. Chain Lightning. Now this is a really amazing spell. Hurls a bolt of lightning at a group of enemies within a range of 3. The lightning bolt will fork and jump from one enemy to another in an electric chain reaction, dealing each time lightning damage equal to 15 to 36 times the number of targets. So it's a little bit confusing how they worded it, but basically, if there are 3 targets, which is the max kind of you can fit on one tile, the max bunch enemies will bunch into, then it's 3 times that 15 to 36 damage, which is 45 to over 100 damage. 109 damage? So what is that compared to the fire spell here? It's kind of comparable to Fire Burst in terms of the actual damage it does, right? But it's half the mana. So that's actually pretty good, with 3 targets, mind you. Less than that, and it's not so good. But it's only 30 mana, does comparable damage to Fire Burst. You get it at Master skill level, rather than having to wait all the way till Grandmaster. And it's only 30 mana, and it's pretty good damage. Yeah, it's a good spell, actually, and fun to use. Cyclone. Summons a Cyclone that humps enemies for 4 turns and deals 32 to 58 damage to enemies that or party members it reaches. I've used that a little bit. I haven't used it too much. I didn't have an Air Grandmaster the last game, but I think in certain circumstances that's probably going to come in handy. Not a spell that I'm going to cast a lot though. Thunderstorm. Summons a storm for 3 turns in front of the party. Each enemy the storm is dealt damage equal to 30 to 48 times the number of affected enemies. So this has the potential to be insane. In fact, this has the potential to be the strongest damage spell in the game, if it's the right number of enemies. So you summon a storm, I guess in the front of the tile, in front of you, and I haven't used this actually. And if this works like Chain Lightning, then this is the most damaging spell in the game in the right situation. Pretty cool. So all in all, air magic pretty neat. Does pretty good damage in the right situation. Not extremely expensive like fire magic is. All right, so we also want to talk about light magic. Light ward, okay, light resistance. As far as I know, no enemy in the game other than like the light elemental actually does light damage. I could be wrong, but I don't remember getting hit by any light damage. Floating orb of light improves. Okay, light orb. This is basically just like torchlight as far as I know. Important if you don't have torchlight. I don't think they stack though. Celestial Armor. This is probably the #1 defensive spell in the game. Gives you basically 60 damage for each character. 60 damage. I believe it is 60 damage for each character. Yeah, absorbs 60 damage for each character. And of course, you know, times that by 9, I believe, you know, you're getting like 540 damage ignored, something like that. It might not work exactly like that. I remember 300 and something my last game. Yeah, I think it was 300 and something ignored. Anyway, it's enough. It's enough. If you pump it up enough, it absorbs enough damage to basically negate almost any attack in the game, pretty much, or multiple attacks. So it's very, very important, and we will be having somebody max light magic to use that. That's one of the ways I'm going to survive, especially in the early game. Later game, I might not even need it, but we'll see. Clairvoyance reveals traps. There aren't a lot of traps in the game, to be honest. There's only a few. It seems like they added those as an afterthought. There's only a few areas that I remember having traps as even a problem. But in those areas, of course, that's going to be imperative that you have something. You don't really need this because there's other ways to discover traps, but it's kind of nice, I guess. Cleansing Light dispels any curse on the target party member. I don't remember. I think it's just cursed when you've got the curse status, which is not really a big deal in my opinion. Unfortunately, it's kind of disappointing that light magic doesn't have anything to like remove all the bad effects on all your party members. But unfortunately, yeah, Cleansing Light, I'd never ever use this really. I think a curse can be just dispelled, and that's it. And that's probably an easier way to do it because it does it on everybody. Heal, again, never really used this. All my healing in the last game was done by regeneration and not the heal, not anything from light magic. It restores a lot more than regeneration to one target. Again, you don't need it because all my characters have low life, so there's no reason I need more healing really. Radiant Weapon. So this is the other spell, as far as I know, that actually does physical damage. But it does a lot more physical damage. So this is another spell I might use in certain circumstances. It's only 20 mana, which is actually kind of cheap for the damage it does. It does 70-20 light damage. Again, keep in mind that light damage is almost never resisted. It's almost no enemy in the game has high light magic resistance. And 70-20 physical damage. And by the way, I believe this actually has a chance to miss. I'm not sure if this air spell actually can miss that physical damage attack. But this one, I believe, can actually miss, you know, based on their dodge or something. I think I've actually seen this miss. So that's not a good thing. But supposedly, they can't block this turn. That's useless to us. We don't care. But there may be a reason to actually cast that at some point in the game just for the physical damage. Again, we can reduce physical damage with a spell and make it pretty low, right? Resurrection. Okay, one person in your party should definitely have this, because as well as you do in the game, you probably will get unlucky or surprised or something, and one guy might die, and you need some way to resurrect that. So resurrection, yeah, target party members resurrected. Important to have, in my opinion. Heal party. Okay, this is just a lot more than regeneration. It does kind of the same thing. I almost never use this. I always use regeneration because regeneration is cheaper and lasts for a few turns after that. So heal party, not really needed. Word of Light. Now this spell really surprised me. It's very expensive and it doesn't do a lot of damage at first glance. However, in the end of the game, this was doing probably the most damage of all my spells. Now, keep in mind, I didn't have maxed fire magic, so I wasn't using the high damage fire spells. But Word of Light was amazing in the end game. The damage, again, is deceptive because keep in mind that a lot of enemies in the late game will have either 0 light resist or maybe even negative light resist. And you, of course, with Grandmaster Light Magic will make that even further negative light resist. So this does a lot more damage than you might think, and it does it to all enemies in front of you within a range of 3. And then after that, it takes some of that damage and heals your party. So it's a healing damage spell, but it's really, really effective. This is pretty good spell, and I'm surprised at that, but it was pretty good my last playthrough. In fact, surprisingly good. And then Dark Magic. Dark Magic really got the shaft. It doesn't really have much. Maybe except for Darkness Ward. Now, I believe a lot of the in-game enemies do dark attacks, so Darkness Ward is probably a good thing to have. Although I didn't cast it a lot, but I probably should have. Darkness Ward, I think probably good because a lot of the game's enemies toward the end use dark attacks. Dark Vision, this is an interesting one. It basically gives you kind of like, almost looks like a night vision type of effect, which some of the dungeons are so dark that I do remember using this sometimes just because, you know, just to see something, because it was just so dark in some of the dungeons. Shadow Cloak, you basically ignore, or yeah, one attack, one physical attack is basically misses automatically. I don't think in the in-game this is something you'd use a lot, but in the early game this is something that might come in handy, and it's novice and you start with it, so it's okay, it's alright. Whispering Shadows, discover secrets. There are a lot of secrets in this game, and there are several ways to get, you know, something where you can discover them, but this is one way, and it's good for a little while at least. Whispering Shadows, pretty useful. Purge dispels all positive conditions from the target in close combat. I cannot think of too many instances where I would have wanted to dispel a positive condition from enemies. They just don't cast many buffs in general. There's one boss that I can think of that you might want to use Purge on, but you could just use a scroll instead of actually having to get to Expert Dark Magic. Drain Life. You drain 17 to 29 health from a target in close combat and transfers 7 to 9 from to all of your party. That does weak damage, and it has to be close combat, and I think the light version is far better, and this to me looks like total crap. I would say that's a crap spell. Sleep. Target enemy within a range of 1 falls asleep. It can't... okay. I don't... I can see how this would be useful, but I don't think it's worth getting to Expert Dark Magic just to use that, because I think later on in the game, you don't really play like that anyway. So I don't think this is that useful. It seems like it'd be useful, but you have to get to Expert Dark Magic, and I don't really want to invest in that. Target monster within a range of 4 is terrorized. So terror, that's Master. Again, investing in Master to get that seems like that would be good, you know, with certain monsters. I bet you bosses are immune to that. Same thing with Sleep. Again, bosses are probably immune to that. So, that's another mark against it. It seems like it would be good for something like a boss, but if bosses are immune against it, which I bet they are, then I wouldn't bother. I'm sure you could get it on the scroll for the few instances where you thought you really needed terror. Also, some of the nastier enemies are undead, which I'm sure are going to resist this. Agony. Inflicts the agony condition on a target within a range of 4. The damage is dealt is 9 to 11 damage. Each time it is dealt damage, which I believe means physical damage. Not good, because we don't have any physical damage dealers. So, weakness. Each time enemy deals 20% less damage, and is dealt 7 damage each turn, last 2 turns. Now, I'm sure that scales up with your skill in Dark Magic. So, let's see. 20% less damage. Could you actually, I suppose you could actually get that to 0, but it's not that hard. It's not that hard to get, you know, nearly like 80 or upwards of damage resistance. So you don't really need to reduce the physical damage enemies are doing further when you've got nearly max physical resistance anyway. So I would say, in my opinion, all of dark magic is kind of useless except for Whispering Shadows and maybe Shadow Cloak. It's not, well, it's not useless, but it's not worth it. There's no good really physical damage, or I'm sorry, there's no good damage on it. Drain life is crap. Weakness is crap. Agony, well, if you don't have any physical damage, dealer's agony is going to be crap. So, yeah, dark magic, not good. We just got it for basically Whispering Shadows and Shadow Cloak, and that's about it. And Darkness Ward. Darkness Ward would be useful. So that's my rundown of all the spells and stuff here. Hope you're still awake. But anyway, so what the heck were we doing? Okay, so we just got our thingy. So those of you who have asked me to talk about, or were going to ask me to talk about, like, the mechanics and things, there you go. That's my opinion on all of it.
Yes!
I'm Zale, a harbor master of Sorpigal, and the closest you'll find a mayor around here. Can I help you with anything? Smuggler's Cove. A few centuries ago, Sorpigal was a smuggler haven. Compared to the heavily fortified part of Carthal, Sorpigal was much less risky entry point to the peninsula. My ancestor claims he hid his nest egg in that cove in an enchanted coffer, which I found the key. Find the coffer and we'll split the gold. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, that will be, we'll probably have to get expert fire magic to actually do that quest, but we'll get the quest anyway. And I believe I've explored everything. So we're going in. Going in the spider's lair. Confirm. Get used to the loading screen. You're going to see a lot of this crap. I'd say about a good 1/8 of your time in this game is spent waiting for that loading screen. It's not terribly slow, but it does slow down the game. I wish it wasn't quite so bad.
Looks like they smelled it.
Great.
Who forgot
Enemies
to take
to
a
kill.
bath?
See ya. Here's the first spider.
Good. And stay down!
So this should be another spider, right? Oh, he got me.
Not strong enough.
Oh, crap. Orcs don't start with a weapon, unfortunately, so... Dwarves start with a nice spear, so they actually do decent damage. Do we have enough for, The thing about orcs is they have almost no spell points, almost no magic points. Okay, so we're gonna rest here. And save. And here we go.
Following us. Kill it.
So first we deal with this guy.
I kill you.
Alright. Come on, dude.
I kill you.
Alright, and that's why we get everybody fire magic. Very easy to kill things. So, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up some crap. We should be able to take one more guy. Oh, wait a minute. This is the this is kind of the boss here. So, first of all, I'm gonna reorganize my quick slots here. Usually do it like this. I take out the ranged attack. We probably will never use a ranged attack in the entire game. Let's see here. And the skill potion, or the potions, I take those off too. Because if I use a potion, which is kind of rare, I use it, I just go in my inventory and use it there. Also, Sundering, pretty much never going to use that. Okay, let's go ahead and rest. So you want to, preferably, you want to do most of your regeneration of your magic by resting and not drinking mana potions, because if you drink mana potions, you'll run out of those and you'll got to replace them at a cost and money. Buying potions, I think, is double the cost it is in a normal game in warrior mode. So you want to do most of your restoring of your mana through resting with your supplies.
Looks like they smelled it.
All right.
Who forgot to take a bath?
This is an ugly thing. Be careful, raiders. This is probably the Spider Queen. It's going to be even nastier than the other 8-legged monstrosities. But if we kill it, we get rid of the nest. Let's fight. Nice. Okay, so has more than one attack. So as you can see there, it has basically 3 attacks. I would recommend Celestial Armor to start.
Yes, I will strong.
And then we just sit here and do things like firebolt the heck out of it. Fire is probably the most effective spell here. Ugh, got poison there, but it's not really a big deal.
So good.
I might have her actually drink a potion just to make sure. And the orc, of course, runs out of mana pretty quick, so I'm just going to have him drink a minor mana potion. Whoa. Okay, can I do anything there? No, I can't. Okay. So she hit me pretty hard there. Yeah, everybody's going to drink mana potions, looks like, is what's going to happen. Okay, fine. I think I will use Ice Bolt to reduce the number of attacks she gets. So this time she only got 2 attacks versus 3. So that's going to help my survivability a little bit. I'm going to put up Celestial Armor again, too. I think, like I said, on the Orc, I think we're going to use Ice Bolt. It's also a little bit cheaper. I wonder if I could get away with just attacking. Maybe not. Okay, that shouldn't have to use any more potions here. Okay, good.
My skill is improving.
So we killed her, and I need to, first of all, I need to heal that poison. Cure poison on 2 people, looks like. Actually, I should put Cure Poison down here on my skill slot there. There you go, because we're going to be using more of that. Okay, so we got a level up for everybody. Of course, you know the drill. Magic. Max magic for everybody like crazy. And then we go in here, and we've got to assign points. So, first thing we're going to need to do on the free mage Deemer is we're going to need to pump prime magic. We've got to get that to expert first thing. And yep, confirm that. Okay, so the dwarf Zyron is going to go max fire magic. And Adela is, I suppose, max light magic. Although I'd almost max fire magic at this point on her, just because light magic, I don't think I need light magic tremendously at this point. Or am I? Yeah, maybe let's play it safe. Let's go light magic on her. Yeah, let's go ahead and get expert light magic on her. Okay, and then Soul Mirror air magic, of course. There you go. Okay, pretty simple. Well done, Raiders. That taught that monster not to mess with the focal sorpicle. You did good. Here's your reward. It's well deserved. Anything you find out here is yours to keep as well. Just stay guarded. There might be a few monsters remaining, spiders remaining. I'll be at the garrison if you need me. Maybe you do have what it takes, eh?
Farewell.
Farewell. Okay, so he goes away, so that means we lose our 2 blocking chances per round, which is unfortunate, but oh well. The nice thing about these quest hirelings is that they don't take any money, so they're completely free. You get their bonuses, but they're completely free. Alright, come and get me, bro. Okay, so they're both on the same. So this is where I might actually consider using Entangle on a couple of guys here. So probably right there. Whoops! What the heck was that? I did not use the right. Okay, I did not use Entangle there. But I did. Actually, that was okay. So I pushed that guy back, which is fine. So this is the only guy I have to deal with then. We want to deal with these guys one at a time, of course. Okay, I did that without having to use any mana, which is good because the orc's out of mana. So he comes up. All right, we had to rest anyway, so what the heck? Okay, so we're gonna take that junk.
Something following us. Kill it.
There's another chest over here. Antidote, silver ring. Yada-da. Orc starts with the ability to use spears, but I haven't found any spears yet. Okay, this is going to be a spider, and okay, good thing is it didn't poison me. All right.
Looks like they smelled us. Right, who forgot to take a bath?
Okay. Should be able to one-shot him here. Or, one-round him. Okay. Orc has no points left, but... Oh, crap. Ah, it's worse than that. But we're alright. I'm gonna go ahead and perform a quick save here. This is about where I got frustrated with the game my first time playthrough. So I'm like, you know, what am I supposed to do? They just script it so where I'm surrounded. And that really bothered me the first time. I have gotten over it, but it's still kind of cheap. So we're gonna do let's see, we probably want to throw one of these guys this way. Maybe that guy. That way we only get hit by one next turn. It's not a huge deal. I mean, they're not going to do a ton of damage.
I'm hurt.
But, you know, it's just kind of how we deal with it. Let's see. Let's throw this guy away again. That way, again, we only have to deal with two. Actually, we could throw this guy away too. That way we don't get hit by anybody this turn. So the whole point is to kind of avoid using potions. So we can kind of do that. Although we might not be able to avoid that here. All right. Yeah. Bad luck with the misses. Don't hit the same person, please. One more round if I can do it. Oh, wow. Messed up. Well, he lost out on 5 experience there. Oh, by the way, we got an Elixir of Vitality here. So that probably cured his poison problem, huh? No, it didn't. Okay, never mind. So, Free Mage lost 5 experience there because he was out. I tried to cut that too close. I probably shouldn't have. But 5 experience is not a big deal. Yeah, I was about to say, so we got an Elixir of Vitality. Now, the dwarves get an extra health point for each point of vitality, so I'm going to use this on one of the dwarves. I think I'm going to use this on the Adela, because she's the healer. We want her to be a little bit more tanky. I'll probably even it out, though.
There's something here.
Okay, and now we have a... This is the first secret door here. And basically, if you have something that lets you see secret doors, it'll show up like this, and a crack means this is the might test. So we don't have a lot of might between all these characters. Our max is 6 on the Orc Shaman. But there's still a chance I can open it right now, and that would be kind of nice if I did. Ah.
Great. I needed to hit
So
something.
it's the require. How it works is it's got basically some level of requirement. You have to have a certain amount of might to have 100% chance of opening it. But if you have lower than that, then it's like a certain percentage chance. Like I'm not sure what the actual formula is, but that was probably a lucky open right there. I usually have to get expert fire magic and cast I forgot what the spell's called. Inner Fire. I usually have to cast Inner Fire to open that. But I got lucky right now, and that saves us a trip. We don't have to come back here. But anyway, that was probably a pretty low chance to open that, but I did it. So, that was kind of nice. That means I could probably get another promotion.
Expert, but this looks valuable.
Okay, so we got a rip page from a journal. This is, I believe, what we have to take back to that one guy to finish the quest. And we are completely done with that dungeon. We never need to come back there again, which is, like I said, that's kind of nice. I usually have to come back there to open that secret door when I have Burning Determination. Or not Burning Determination, it's the other one, Inner Fire. Alright.
Dragons, this place is dull.
And immediately I'm going to talk to this guy. Is that it? I was hoping for something bigger. To think that was this was a fortune to my ancestor. Oh well, here's the deal. A deal's a deal. Here's half the gold as I promised. Okay, and I got 75 experience for that, which is a pittance later in the game, but certainly nice right now. I'm going to go back and... Oh, I forgot to get a quest here. Well met, my friends. My name is Jasad. Quest, Jasad's Bestiary. So you're the raiders of lost treasures, bold challengers of ancient mysteries, intrepid explorers of the great unknown and the hidden truths. Laughs cheerfully. Oh, how marvelous to meet you. I am indeed in great need of your services of a party like yours. You see, I think you might say I'm an explorer myself. I spent many months exploring these lands, collecting information on its astounding and colorful denizens. But I need to leave this region for in a few moons, and I'm afraid I won't have enough time to complete my assessment of the various peoples and creatures that living here in the peninsula. So I offer you a chance for working for me. Are you interested, my adventurous friends? Yes. Great. I see you already have a bestiary to keep track of the creatures you meet in your journeys. That's perfect. All I ask is you share your findings with me once in a while. For every, say, 10 creatures you enter in your bestiary, I'll offer you a reward. The more creatures you register in the book, the greater rewards will be. Should you include non-animal foes like brigands or orcs? That's indeed a good question. Let me say you can. I'd rather trim the list down later on than return home with an incomplete knowledge. Okay. Oh, forgot to get more supplies. We need to get more supplies here. Buy supplies, yes. Restock to 6 supplies for 100 gold. There you go. Alright, good. So we got a quest to get rewarded every time we basically run into new creatures. That's good. Quest, Darkness in the Lighthouse. Good job dealing with those spiders. I have another task for you, if you feel up to it. There's an old lighthouse south of Sorpagol, dating back to an old Shantari Empire. A few days ago, the light atop the tower was extinguished, just as I received reports that a bunch of Nagas have been slithering around the building. Now I have nothing against the snake folk, but a few years ago, the peninsula had some problems with crazy Nagas calling themselves the Cult of the Wrecker and taking control of the lighthouse. Sounds like the kind of things those wreckers would do. I want you to go to the lighthouse and investigate it. If it turns out that the wreckers are indeed responsible, deal with them. Oh, and try to restore the light if you can. Alright. So, second quest. Go fix the lighthouse or whatever the hell. Let me see here. Do we need to buy anything? I think we need to buy regeneration. Yep. So we're going to need regeneration, the spell, and we're probably... Actually, we need to sell this crap, too, because we've got a lot of stuff in our inventory right now, and we won't have room for everything else. So... Trade. So, we've got a lot of just regular items that we need to sell here. We probably don't need quite so many antidotes. That gives you some money. So, we also, I would say we don't need these medium health potions ever. So we're not going to have much more than 100 hit points. So, minor health potions are pretty much all we need for the entire game. Okay, this guy doesn't even have... Okay, on level up, I need to get this guy to be able to use an orb or something, because he doesn't have anything to even swing at anybody. I'm going to put some of this stuff on him just for armor. This can be sold. These go down in the corner right here. I need to identify these, probably sell most of them and equip the other ones. Let's see here. These unidentified things, these need to be kept, I think, because we need to identify them and sell them. Can I sell these? Yeah, I could sell these unidentified, but they sell for like nothing, whereas identifying them makes them worth a lot more. So you definitely want to identify them first. For the identify ability, we need a spell called Identify, strangely enough. So I'm going to go get Regeneration, because that's like pretty much the next step, is getting Regeneration. We definitely want to buy it for one person, maybe everybody. Also might want to get Sparks for this guy. Frozen Ground. Frozen Ground's another thing. He doesn't have a lot of spell points, though. Got to be careful with my money, though. We don't want to go too crazy. I'm going to give Light Ward, Cure Poison, Regeneration. Maybe just getting 2 people regeneration might be fine. I feel like I should get. I feel like I should really get Frozen Ground, though. Really. Let's see. What does he got? Ah, Whispering Shadow. Time to do that? I don't think so. Not right now. Okay, that's fine. I can't spend too much money because I don't want to be in a position where I don't have stuff to get what I really need. So out we go. We're pretty much done with Sorpigal here. And I'm not sure how long I've been playing here. I should really time these things. I think we'll do a little bit outside first here before I stop the video. Wow, it's some loading. Some loading. It really does slow down the game when you have load times like this. I mean,
Their first heroic deed behind them. The raiders
it's
left
not
the
too
safety
bad
of
compared
Sorpigal
to, I think,
and
what it
started
might
their
have
journey
been
through the savage
earlier,
Aegean
when this
Peninsula.
game was a lot more
Their
buggy,
hearts
but
filled
still.
with promises of riches and adventure.
Okay. Thank you.
Fantastic adventures awaited them.
Oh, there's more of
as
this.
their path was to be filled with challenging quests and innumerable battles. Did they have the might to emerge victorious? Only time would tell.
Looks like they smelled us.
Yeah.
Right. Who forgot to take a bath? Too much sun and wind.
Great. I need something to hit.
Yep. Oh, what do you mean you survived that? How do you stop that nonsense?
Stay down.
That guy didn't survive that. Okay.
Not strong enough.
Yeah, we need to get that orc some more magic. More mana. There we go. So, that was about as efficient as you can make it right there. Oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I forgot about that thing. Oh, we'll use it in a minute.
Something following us.
Yeah, this restores all your health and mana, and I forgot that was there.
Orc is waiting for them.
Wasn't there a chest over here? I'm misremembering.
Great!
Oh.
I needed to hit something.
Ah, the two-headed dog. No, it's actually two wolves, in one body, in one tile. I'm gonna do this. I don't think he has 2 attacks, but we're just gonna do that to make sure. I can't see which one I'm actually clicking on. Okay, good. Okay, we can... Oh, wait a minute. Oh. I got totally confused there. Oh well, like I said, at least we weren't being pummeled by 2 at once. That's what you want to avoid. Okay, now I'm going to use that refill thing. We're getting... So, one thing I don't like about this game, which is usually a feature in other games, is so your experience is not divided per party member. It's just... There's a set amount of experience for an enemy, and that experience gets given to all your party members, you know, no matter how many are there, how many are alive. I would like to have it where I could maybe make a party of only 3 people, or 2 people, or even 1 person. But if you make a party of 1 person, the game's going to be extremely hard, and you don't get any extra experience, like if your other characters are dead. I didn't like that feature, to be honest. But that's how it is, I guess. There you go. Now, I should probably not fight anything but one more enemy.
Who forgot to take a bath?
See, I know there's some spiders. There's a spider.
Great. Enemies to kill. I kill you.
Ah, that was a critical right there. Criticals seem to do like 3 times the damage, which is very unusual. Criticals in most games do like twice the damage, and that's it.
Not strong enough.
And stay down!
And that will require a rest. There you go. There's a chest right there. Yes, there is. And we'll take that. Junk. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for that.
So right off the bat,
Something is coming our way.
no,
Be
we don't
ready.
have to. We don't have to go there yet. We don't have to go there yet. We're going over there in a minute, though.
Great! I needed to hit something.
Okay, so we have 2 guys here. Thing I don't like about this situation is with a single target spell, we'll just randomly target them. I would like to be able to choose my targets. Thank you very much. For some reason, they thought that that was not going to be allowed. I'm not sure why.
It's the perfect day to begin a journey.
Is that thing refilled? That thing might be refilled now. So to make your supplies go even further... Yeah. Smart plan. Smart plan. That's what we're doing. So let's see here. I usually explore this pretty thoroughly. In the other Might and Magic games, I just go straight for the other areas. And maybe I gotta give them credit for this. In this Might and Magic game, that doesn't actually necessarily make sense. There's not like a huge gap in between the experience the enemies will get at the lower level, give you at the lower levels versus the higher levels. Strangely enough, like I'm getting like 5. Well, we started out getting 5 experience per enemy. Now we're starting to get like 20 experience per enemy. In the end game, we might get like 60 experience per enemy. So as you can see, the experience scaling isn't that steep. So it does actually make sense to stay in these earlier parts, and get a lot of clear them out. Whereas, like, in, Might and Magic, like, 6, it certainly didn't. The difference in experience between enemies was, like, maybe early game, Rat might give you, like, 10 experience. Late game, enemies were giving, like, you know, thousands of experience. Let's see if I could just keep one of these guys from coming in here. Alright, so we only got one came up. Who came up there?
And stay down.
Good. So we nearly got a level, is the idea. Okay, we're gonna wait until this guy comes up here. Strangely enough, I seem to have gotten an extra turn there. Okay, so we'll push him back for one more swing at him there. No, we still didn't get him. No, he can't kill us in one turn. Oh, you. Thank you. Alright. And there's a level. There it is. Okay. Okay, so pretty simple. Everybody gets all their points in magic. Not too complicated there. So, primordial magic expert, important. Fire magic expert, important. Light magic expert, important. And I guess we'll do air. We're just about to get another level, so I want to get this guy like one in magical focus, so he can kind of, so he can like get a weapon or something. Anyway. All right, so that's that. Now we can go fight an enemy over here. Ooh.
Something is coming our way. Be ready.
Okay, so this is something we'll be seeing a little bit of in this early game here. A Kenshi. This is basically like a water-based guy. So fire magic is the best choice for him.
And stay down.
Excellent. And we have a little bit of mana left. Probably don't want to push it, though.
No, it's nothing.
There's a couple of enemies over here.
Something is coming our way. Be ready.
Yeah.
Great. I needed to hit something.
Okay, and we want to push this other guy away. Alright, that way only one of them get their swing. Again, we want to push this guy. Let's push this guy away now, so not to complicate things. Okay, we'll go ahead and use the firebolt then. He's got 24 mana, yeah.
Stay down.
That's how it is. You know what? This other guy, I don't think I'm going to be able to take him before he gets me. Let's see. Yeah, probably not. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you're going to do one of those. Okay, I get it. Alright, I am going to take a minor mana potion. Oh, really? Okay, we're gonna start doing this cheap crap then. Actually, that was bad. I gotta do that first, then we gotta do that. There you go. There you go. I cut that a little close, that's my fault, so I was forced to use a potion. I got a little bit ambitious, let's say. But we're not going over here. We're going over this way for reasons. Basically, we're going over this way because we got a quest to do that's probably going to get us another level here.
Looks like they smelled us. Who
Great.
forgot to take a
Enemies
bath?
to kill.
You know, that's something that could be dealt with a little bit later. I want to do this. There you go. That's a little bit cheaper than the firebolt, and he only had a little bit of health on him. Okay, that's that. Let's do that, because that'll root him in place for a turn. Firebolt, firebolt, firebolt. Ice bolt. Oh, guess what I'm doing? I'm going to go back and get a little bit more of this fountain. Get a drink there. And a save. Okay, so immediately I think we want to go up here and see if I can do this little quest. And also let's loot this grave, I guess. Where somebody was digging a hole and I'm looting it, basically. That's how it is. That one kind of went up his nose. Did you see that? Alright, so... I'm going to try to root this guy. Okay, because this guy takes about 2 rounds to kill. Alright, there we go. Now, maybe... Nope, didn't get a level.
Yes!
I'm
More
close, though.
Glory!
Close, though. If I were to walk perfectly, I might be able to get to that other fountain. In fact, I think I can. Oh, by the way, I shouldn't probably do that. I have other things to do here. Like identify. Let's identify. Okay, so we're going to go and we're going to get Expert Fire, Expert Prime. Cannot get Expert Earth because nobody actually did Expert Earth. Okay. Sell the junk for now. This is all trash, basically. Garment, I don't know, that's like 2% damage resistance. I guess I'll put it on. But what we really want to be doing is, we've got a couple of relics here that we can start leveling up because we can start wearing them. So we really probably want to go back and just get Identify. I think that's probably what we want to do. Quest Naga Tea. Naga Tea! Let me see. Yes, I still have a box of tea leaves I brought back from the Wolf Duchy. I think it's called Olea Tea. The whole box is yours for 200 gold. Not sure where I got that, but I'll do the quest because that quest is pretty lucrative later on. Alright, we're going to go back to Sorpical because we've got to get the Identify spell and actually a few other spells. Lightning Bolt actually would be nice, by the way. But Identify is the first priority here. And no, I can't do that. No, we do have a fountain in Sorpical though that I can visit. Time is really not of much consequence in this game. I believe there might be a quest associated with like what month it is or something, or what day it is. But there's only one of those, and it's pretty much like you don't have a time limit, you don't age as far as I know. So use as much time as you want. Rest and take years. No big deal. Alright, so we're going to go in this tavern thing. We've got to get 2 spells for sure. Or maybe more than that. Hold on. Time stasis. Okay, we want to get Identify. Oh, that's it. That's probably all we can actually handle. Okay. So we're going to go, yeah, got Identify.
Safe.
So we're just about to go use Identify. Okay, so just Identify. Let's go ahead and unhide. Or hide the unlearned spells. I had a lot to identify there. So we've got Craig's Hack's helmet. So the way relics work, or artifacts work in this game, is they start at level 1 where they don't give much of a bonus, and they go all the way to level 4, and they get experience as you get experience, basically. And when they get level 4, they get their max bonuses. So even though this doesn't look amazing, with some levels, it'll actually become amazing eventually. The Thunder Staff, for sure, is something that I want to level up. The Hacker, I'm never going to use that. A Breakable, I'm probably never going to use that. Thunder Blade's Helmet, I have no idea what that does, but we're going to find out, because I'm going to put it on. Oh, nice. 100% protection against knockout. That seems like something that I probably want to put on my healer. 2 levels of earth magic skill. No kidding. Okay, I'll put that on my... That's kind of surprising to find that early. Oh, +4 vitality spear. I'm going to hang on to that. And you know why? Is because I have a quest coming up that I'm going to need vitality. And I'm be damned if I'm actually going to put points in vitality. I'm definitely not going to do that. But I'll get that through items, is the idea. So, okay, so we need to probably sell some of this. Let's sell, like, the battle axe. So, again, those artifacts, I started with those because I did, let's call it, I spent my reward points for Ubisoft on getting those, that, like, starter pack or whatever it's called. Some of these are pretty useful. These, you know, for a magic party. I think the hacker might be actually useful for, I guess, somebody using an axe. But anyway, I'm going to sell that because we're never going to use an axe in our life here in this game. Never. And those guys I'll put over there, so make sure I don't accidentally sell them. Something stupid like that. Now, you might wonder, there's a guy in here, there's a goblin that you can hire for 200 gold, and he gives you a bonus when you rest. That's probably something I'm going to use in the later game, but not right now. He also wants a little bit of money, and I'm such a stingy guy that I'm not even going to pay that little amount of money that he wants to hire him. Or to keep him along. He'll take a certain percentage, just like in the previous Might and Magic games. He takes a certain percentage of the gold you find, and even any percent right now is too much for me. I'm not even going to pay 2% of the gold I find to have that guy. No, absolutely not. We don't need him. We might hire him later, though, because that, once we have like 100 and something, you know, let's say 100 in our stat points, then that 10% he provides will actually be, you know, fairly impressive at that point. I'm going to go get another level here. Let's see, we did this, right? The barrel, yeah, we did that. Okay, there's a place over here where I have to drink out of a fountain anyway. So what the heck, man?
Something following us. Kill it.
Yeah, there's nothing following us. This guy's over there. First of all, there's a chest over here. A little chesty westy. Linen robe. 2% damage reduction. Oh yeah. No, I'm not even going to bother with those right now. So you drink out of this, and this is a good example of the automatic ambushes that this game will put you in.
I needed to hit
It's different.
something.
It's not something I like. So those guys did not exist before I drank out of that fountain. I guarantee you that. But now all of a sudden they're here and they're in my face. Can I? Yes, I can. Thank you very much. Now these guys can stun, so these guys are actually fairly dangerous. So we don't even want them. We don't even want them to come close. So if I'm lucky, okay. Well, I got one of them like that, but so let me do this first, and then that, and then maybe, yeah, and then maybe. I don't know, Entangle's actually pretty good for the mana. So this might be a case where we, like, I don't know, let's see here. Let's do that. Whack, whack. He does have a chance to maybe resist that, but he didn't. I don't believe I need to do, yeah, we're fine. Yeah, well, we just need to hit this guy one more time and we're fine. I think we're even level. So just please don't block, please. Okay, thank you. Okay. Then I got my level, which refills my health. Alright, cool. Now, you may think I'm being a little stingy, but trust me, I never want to buy a mana potion, especially in the early game, because it's a very, like, the money's really tight in the early game, and I don't want to spend my mana potions frivolously either. So, let's see, alright, so yeah, that's where I am there. Let me think here. I'm not sure what I want to spend my stuff in right now with that guy. I'm going to have to, with Solmir, I'm going to have to pump Mysticism. I have no choice because he has no mana. Actually, one in Magical Focus. One in Magical Focus and Mysticism. I have no choice because he has no mana whatsoever, and it's just disgusting. He runs out of mana so fast. So that's what I have to do with him. I have no choice there, so that's what we're doing with him. Then with the Deemer, I'm going to pump Magical Focus because I need somebody to use that artifact that I got and level it up. Then Zyron, I kind of want to do Mysticism again because we're going to be put in a situation where we're going to need to be using a lot of our mana here. Magical Focus mana, I think. Yeah, and same thing with Della, Magical Focus, Mysticism. Good. All right, that's good enough. I'm gonna save, and we got some stuff to do over here. Let's see here. Where can I get my next? Let's see. Hold on. See if I can get some easy experience from another quest here. Highwayman, Lighthouse, Ashes to Ashes. Okay, none of that. No, I'm out of quests. I'm out of easy quests. I'd have to do the Lighthouse one. I'm not ready to do that yet. I'm gonna see if we can get another level by just killing things around here.
Something is coming our way. Be ready.
Oh, you know what? We need to rest. Holy crap. What am I doing? Might be better to go take these guys up here. I need to rest. And also, let's get this Destiny boost, which means a slight, like a 2.5% extra chance to do a critical hit.
Great. I need something to hit.
Let these guys come to us here. I'm going to go ahead and entangle. Alright, that means that guy's not going to advance. Why did you hit the other dude there? What kind of silliness is that? Didn't mean to do that. No, that was the wrong thing. Okay, well, the Moonsilk Spider can be, like, pinpricked, and he's going to go down. Oh, well. Okay, there we go. And then this guy could just be pushed back. And then... yeah, let's firebolt on him. Okay, so... firebolt. Firebolt. Gust of wind. Okay, we should be able to do this without using any more mana here. What is... thank you. Oh, by the way, he's got a magical focus. He doesn't need to be unarmed right there. There we go. Got magical focus skill. Okay, so now we can rest. We also... you can't really go a long time without resting anyway because it makes you weak and feeble-minded eventually, so definitely... they force you to do a lot of resting in this game. I don't know. It took you a while to get negative effects from not resting in the previous version or in the originals. Like you could go for weeks without resting before you started having any trouble. I believe we should be able to push this guy back. There you go. So I push that guy back after everything. That way he doesn't actually get to swing at me. There you go. Okay, I'm gonna make sure I found everything here. As far as there's like a couple of things, a couple of graves or whatever they are. Also, you notice things just like Just like you can't see them from a distance, and all of a sudden you get close, and then they just appear out of nowhere. That's
Looks like they smelled us.
what is it called?
Right.
The
Who forgot to take a
it's not
bath?
fog. It's anyway. It's because the computer or the engine can't handle the
Looks like
draw
they
distance, and
smelled
my
us.
computer probably couldn't either.
Right. Who forgot to take a bath?
But it's unfortunately you can't just look ahead in the horizon and see everything, like, you know, all the chests and stuff that you have available, because they don't show up until you get close. So anyway, I think I cleared that out though.
Brigands can come. Orc is waiting for them.
Orc is waiting for them. I'm gonna get a little refill here, so I should be able to get another level. Should be able to get another level before we have to go do a quest. And with that one more level, I should be able to get focus.
Something is coming our way. Be
Expert
ready.
focus. That way I can use
Great. I need something.
one of the
to
things I
hit.
want to use here. Oh, these guys. Okay, well, these guys aren't too bad. Dee dee dum 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 dum. I'm hitting the wrong guy, aren't I? Yep, I'm hitting the wrong guy. Yeah, just shoot his feet. Why not? Oh, okay. That works. So as long as you don't have to face them two at a time, they're fine. Again, they get close and they have a chance to hit you with some nasty effects. The stun one is a really hard one to deal with at this point in the game, so you don't want them to get close. That's the idea. Let me see if I have another fill on this.
Something follows.
I do!
Kill it.
Heck yeah. Good shizzle. Okay, so I'm gonna go over here. Well, it's a new day. I can get a new one of these. Okay, so you see those little balls in the background? Those little light balls?
Something is
Those
coming
are
our way.
enemies.
Be ready.
Great. I
Bet you
need
didn't
something
think
to hit.
that. Bet you didn't think that was the case. Okay, I'm gonna do that. Oh, I did that with the wrong person. That was dumb. That was dumb. Okay. Anything cheap? Yeah, that's pretty cheap. I don't need to use a full blast on that guy.
I'd kill you.
Gotcha. Okay, now I got some tough guys to deal with. Sometimes you can't get away with just taking out enemies separately. Sometimes they will all come at you at once, and you don't really have a choice there. Fortunately, it looks like that's the case over here. So we might actually have to break down and use a freaking mana potion. Yeah. We might have. We're going to use a mana potion on this guy at least. Actually, she could probably use one. Am I going to have to use two? I'm going to have to use two. I don't want to be too stingy. So stingy where I start making stupid mistakes. Nice hit. 132. That was a critical. Jeez, I'm going to have to use more than two. I shouldn't have to. Oh, she can't actually back him up, can she? Might not have to. Oh, wow. That was a fail. There we go. I didn't want to have to use another friggin' potion. Holy crap. That'd be ridiculous. What runs smoother than any rhyme, loves to fall but cannot climb? Well, let's say water, huh? Not that I would know that from previous experience.
This looks valuable.
An ancient monument towers above you. So I'm going to read the inscriptions, and if you activate these, you can teleport between them. So that's has a lot of use there. That's one way to kind of get past the fact that they don't have a multiple Lloyd's beacon type spells or slots or whatever. And this is gonna be tricky. I am going to have to use potions on this one.
Something is coming our way. Be ready.
This is gonna be a big
Great.
battle.
Enemies to kill.
Actually, it's kind of the same as the last one. So you want to get these guys lined up here, and you don't want to do that by like moving into their line of sight there, because that would mean they're one square closer. Ah, I hit the wrong guy there.
Stay down.
I really wish you could target from a distance, but it doesn't seem like you have that ability. Okay, so whack, whack, whack. Boy, you have a lot of hit points, don't you? I think we're going to have to use a potion on this guy at least, and maybe this lady. Horrible, but I had to do another one. Yeah, it looks like I'm gonna have to clear out this whole area over there to get a level, probably. But if that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do, right? Oh yeah, we gotta do the Mysterious Crypt. So, you also have these crypts scattered around. And they're little, like, puzzles, usually. And if you beat them, then you get an artifact, which is cool. And this is definitely an artifact we want to get, like, right now. So, let's see here. I usually just bumble my way through this one, to be honest. I know it has a set way of being done, but I usually just, I just bumble my way through it, to be honest. It's not too hard to do that way.
Don't like it. Should not
So,
disturb the ancestors.
oh, shut up, will you? No, that doesn't work like that. Okay, so that's not going to work. So let's get this one right here, because I believe if you do that... I think this is it.
Great.
Oh, wow, okay.
Enemies to kill.
Yeah, like I said, just bumbling your way through that one, you can usually do it. Okay, so we have a resistance potion,
Powerful.
and we're just going to drink that. Right on that guy. Let me see if I can identify these things, or if I'm going to need to... Yeah! Holy Sandals. So we're just going to equip those Holy Sandals right now so we can level them up. And then in addition to that, we got a... looks like a pretty good sword there. Too bad we can't ever use it. Ever, ever, ever. Oh, I don't think we can. Can this guy use swords? Even so, I never would, but I'm just curious. Dagger. No, he can use daggers, and that's it. Alright, so that was that. Important stuff. I want to get one more level. One more level. And I know where to get it. Oh, these loading times are wonderful. I was just in a little itty-bitty cave and come out of there, and it's like,
Looks like
10
they
seconds to
smelled
load it.
us. Who forgot to take a bath?
Whoa!
Dragons can come. Orc is waiting for them.
Orc is waiting for them. Let me see if Orc can drink this yet.
Looks like they smelled
Yeah!
us. Who forgot to take a bath?
Free mana. Okay, so this next one is going to be a doozy.
Great. I need something to hit.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so these guys aren't in our face yet. So let's deal with this guy. We might be able to get him. Oh, nice. That's a nice start right there. Be nice if we got another one of those. Okay, so this guy should be easily dealt with that guy. All right, so we don't want either of these guys coming at us, really. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, so now we can fireball one of them. So I'm doing the entangle with these other guys because the center guy has a better firebolt than the rest of them. Which reminds me, what does she... Oh, she doesn't have anything special. Yeah. Solmir actually needs to get lightning. We need to go back and get lightning, actually. Okay, well, it didn't get that one guy. Nope. Doesn't want to target that other guy for some silly reason. So we're going to do that to start with. So this is where we're going to drink our potions. And then with this guy, we're just going to push the guy back. So good luck with that, bro. And then we're going to go ahead and blast this guy right in the face with that. And again, we're going to drink a couple of potions. We're going to drink a potion with this lady, drink a potion with that guy, and then we're just going to push him back. And now this guy got here, but he's so low on health that we could just destroy him like that. And do that. And do that. And do that. And that's how we're doing it right now. In case you didn't know. In fact, it would be so much more efficient if I were to go right now, right back to town, and get, well, I don't know if I have that kind of money. I definitely, let's see. I might as well just stay here. So, this is going to be a big battle, but we might as well just do this. Yeah, well, we have plenty of mana. Who are we kidding?
Something following us. Kill it.
But I might as well. This is kind of a mess. This whole area, but I think I'd rather do this than go back to town right now. So we're gonna do this.
Great! I needed to hit something.
So the best way to do this is to do this, and get them all in this nice traffic jam over here that's called the bridge. Okay. I can't even hit him from there. Alright. That's fine. That's good enough. Let's be kind of liberal with those spells right now.
And stay down.
Okay, that's -1. Now I can just go ahead and slow that guy down a little. Why not? Let's see here. We're probably not going to get this guy here. Oh man, we're gonna get so close. I will wait, because I think I can do this guy without actually having to quaff any potions. Crap, okay. Maybe it'd be better to quaff some potion. Okay, so we've got a couple of nasty dogs over there too, right behind him. So we're gonna quaff potion, and when with this guy we finish him off. Do I want to use a full power attack, or yeah, I should have probably done it the real way. Oh well. Oh, we're just about to get a level. Oh well. So all right, so definitely slow down. Slow down. Nice hit, by the way. And a little bit of firebolt there. A little bit of firebolt scarecrow.
And stay down.
There it is, and all of a sudden I got refills on everything. Nice. Level 5. Oh yeah. Good shizzle. Mysticism time for everybody but this guy. Magical focus. Okay, good. So I'm basically getting magical focus to expert because I want to be able to level up that staff, which is really nice. Okay, and everybody else gets mysticism because they have barely any spell points. Yeah, it's just what you gotta do, unfortunately. There we go.
Now is not a good
Oh, that's
time.
right. Okay, yeah, we can't do that yet. Okay, so let's wait for the spider. Over here, Mr. Spider. See you, Mr. Spider. Well, it's probably refilled over here, huh? I could just rest, but as you can see, I'm extremely stingy in the early game. I won't be this stingy later. But,
Looks like
you know,
Right.
got a free
Who
healing
forgot to
thing
take
right
a
there.
bath?
Oh my god, that was laggy. See what I mean about the lag in the like? it's
Running
these
on Mother
trees
Earth
and all this
under
shrubbery
Father's-
that
I feel stronger.
I don't know why they did it so inefficiently, but apparently they did, and it just kind of ruins the game in the outside world.
Something is coming
In
your
the
way.
dungeons,
Be
it's
ready.
okay, but it's horrible outside. Okay, well, we should have more. Oh, did I seriously kill all of them? I didn't realize that. Okay, I thought there was still some guys over here. So this is part of a quest: Blazing Champion of Truth, Honor, and Justice. On the day of the Elrath shall you come here and pray. Yeah, I don't. I didn't do that quest the last time. I don't really know. I think you get a sword, which is to me of no use anyway. Okay, unlock that obelisk.
We're here to help.
Again, finding all the obelisks, I believe, gives you something too.
Looks like
I didn't
they
actually
smelled
do
it.
that for my
Who
last game
forgot
either,
to take a bath?
because it was a little bit, tedious. I think I might try to do that this time though.
I feel
We all know
stronger.
that these parts are full of brigands, right?
I think we do. Yes, we're the brigands. Okay, I think we got everything from here. Perfectly cleared out there. Completely done. And actually, let's just really quickly identify everything that we've got. Treble Spear of Slain. I'm going to just go ahead and sell it here. Why not? For convenience. Trade. Oh. No, it's okay. I can sell that. Yeah, 3 armor value. Whatever. I'll put that in there. Tribal staff. Maybe you want to hang on to that. I don't know. This is eventually we're going to be moving to like orbs and stuff. We're not going to have any spears eventually. Actually, I could just change that spear out right now. Yeah, we'll keep that stuff, I think. I'm just curious as to what he's got. Usually nothing good with these guys. Oh wait, I need some supplies. At this point in the game, there's really no reason to check the shops. They can't get anything really worth buying at this point. But later, certainly we will check all the shops. I'm going to go upgrade that magical focus to expert so I can start using that one wand. Not a huge... I wish, like, they doubled the speed of movement across tiles. That would be nice, I think. I'm not a huge fan of, like, moving that way. I realize the nostalgia effect and all that, and that's kind of cool, but you don't have to make it kind of a chore to move around,
Things are quiet. Where's the action?
Learn spell. Wait a minute. Do I want to do this? Yes, we want to do this. Okay. So Deemer wants to learn Whispering Shadows. We don't really need this yet. Dispel Magic. Time Stasis. I don't really need that. Siron does need Burning Determination. He needs 2 of these. Fireball, no, because I don't think it's worth the mana at this point. Adela needs nothing. Soulmere needs nothing. We don't have air magic to expert. That's right. That's one thing we need to do, huh? We need to get Soulmere Lightning Bolt for sure. So we need to go upgrade. Let's see here. Air magic is right here. Air magic expert. There she blows. And light magic, I'll tell you where the light magic master is, right up here. Okay, got it. And magical
Too many
foci.
walls and doors.
So,
How does the wind into these houses?
it's kind of interesting. Magic users can use magical foci, and those increase... While they have them equipped, they increase the chance to critically hit, which is kind of interesting. Not as neat as you might think, though. It's like, what are my chances to critically hit right now? Let me see here. Combat. Yeah, but 10% critical hit chance on this guy. Just because he's using a magical foci and he has it to expert. That's nice. Like I said, critical hits are a big deal, but I wouldn't bother going all the way to, like, you know, Grandmaster. I think other things definitely take priority. I'd get it to where I could dual weld on this guy and maybe expert on this guy for a while, and then, like, that'd be kind of the last thing I would level up. It's not as big a deal. So we can use this Thunderstaff, and so we will use the Thunderstaff. And the idea is we want to start leveling that Thunderstaff up, because that's actually a really nice melee item for the coming, next part of the game. Once we get it all the way to level 4, it does a lot of damage in close combat. Much more than your magic user would be able to do, with a melee weapon. So, and I have found a need to actually resort to that in a lot of cases in this next part of the game. So that's why we will be doing that. Anyway, we need to go back and learn some spells. Definitely want Lightning Bolt and probably Sparks.
I'm voting to make camp. Who's with me?
Quiet. This is not a democracy. You don't get to vote on anything. Let's see here. Solmir. Okay, Sparks, definitely. I would also say... Oh, crap. I have to have Eagle Eye. Never mind. Never mind with Lightning Bolt. We're doing Eagle Eye. Actually, could I... You know what? If I hawked all my stuff, I could probably get Lightning Bolt. I really want Lightning Bolt for the lighthouse. I'm just going to sell it all. Everything that I don't need, which is actually a lot of this stuff. And we just need like 800 gold. So we have 32 minor healing potions. We don't need really almost any of those. And we don't need the medium health potion. We almost don't need the antidotes. Let me see what I'm up to now. We don't need this. Apprentice War. Apprentice. I'm going to sell... I'd even sell the Tribal Staff, because I don't think anybody's going to be using that for a while. 735. We still need a little bit more, though. I can sell all the healing potions. I'm going to sell all the elixirs, because I don't think those are needed. What are we up to now? 775. Okay, I will just go ahead and sell every single health potion I have. Again, I'm not using health potions, as you can see, and that's literally, you know what? I'm gonna even strip off some of the like other crap. Oh, he's got that jewelry. No, +2 levels in Earth Magic I think are worth keeping. He's got protection from knockout. That's useful. He's got a linen robe. I'll sell that. He's got a couple things I'll sell there. 855. That should be enough. I just want Lightning Bolt. That's all I'm asking. That way I don't have to... that way I can do the Lighthouse with Lightning Bolt. That would be nice. That would be so nice. Do the Lighthouse with Lightning Bolt. It just rhymes, man. Learn spells. Solmir. Lightning Bolt. There it is. Alright, good. Now I'm happy. And we've also got the Perception spell. Let me see where that is. Eagle Eye. Okay, so +8 Perception. And that's good because we will have a couple of... we have a couple of things that we run across in the lighthouse where we're going to need that. I'm going to take that Ice Bolt off and take that Gust of Wind can stay. Yeah, that's our damage spell now. Lightning Bolt is our damage spell. Very good damage spell, by the way. Yeah. Very good. Very economical. And Burning Determination, definitely. Inner Fire. Let's see here. Inner Fire. Yeah, right there. She's also got regeneration. Let's not forget that. I take Celestial Armor. I'm not going to use Celestial Armor on that guy. So I'm just kind of organizing my skill slots just a little bit. And this guy got what? This guy got nothing. He got nothing new. But, okay, so he just keeps that stuff. Yeah, so Eagle Eye for perception to open secrets, basically. And same thing with Inner Fire. That's how I'm going to be opening my secrets throughout the whole game, is I'll just be utilizing those spells without ever having to put a point in either of those stats. Not even one single point will be put in those stats. And my god, it takes a long time to load. Okay, well, this is probably a good place to go ahead and stop the video, guys. So go ahead and check out my Patreon page in the description, and also my game, Maze Quest 2, is also in the description. And I'll talk to you guys later, and Happy New Year.